Chapter 299. Tang Zhang's stunning appearance overshadowed the light of the rest of the people from the Chu family, especially the people from the Chu family, who were extremely jealous. When the old man returned to his seat, Yan Luyun could not help but pat Tang Zhang's shoulder, and praised, "Brother Tang, you're really something, you actually have so many abilities, even Senior King of Medicine praises you so much." Tang Zhang smiled faintly. "My reputation can't compare to Big Brother Yan's, I've made a fool of myself. I don't dare to laugh." "Ha, with a person like you in the capital, it will definitely be even more interesting," Yan Luyun said meaningfully. The others looked at Yi Tianlei enviously. Where did they find such a son-in-law? He was too awesome. These people really wanted to marry their daughters to Tang Zhang. Chu Mingxian snorted coldly from not far away. His sudden attack just now made old man Yan say a few words, but he did not continue to blame him. After all, the relationship between the Yan and Chu families was not ordinary, and Chu Mingxian relied on this to act so recklessly. At the start of the birthday banquet, all of the guests presented their own gifts, all of which were treasures, but Yan Padian only nodded his head lightly, and did not care much about these precious items. "Elder Yan, today is your birthday, and what you usually like the most is martial arts. Why don't we invite a few juniors to spar with each other, and then cheer Elder Yan up? We can also ask Elder Yan to give us a few pointers." Suddenly, Chu Mingxian suggested loudly. Yan Padian was originally whispering to Yan Qingyi, but when he heard this, he couldn't help but raise his head and look at Chu Mingxian in astonishment. Chu Mingxuan's eyes were burning, faintly jumping with excitement. Song Hanjun smiled faintly, and said, "Mingxuan's suggestion is not bad, most of the people here today are martial warriors, using this method to celebrate Elder Yan's birthday is the best way." Song Hanjun and Chu Mingxian looked at each other and smiled. Yan Padian seemed to be deep in thought as he nodded his head. "All right, the waves behind the Yangtze River will push the waves before. The young elites today are better than the previous year, and I also like to watch the competition between the young elites the most. The young elites are the backbone of the next generation." Immediately, everyone's gaze is locked onto Tang Zhang at the same time. Chu Mingxian and Song Hanjuan's words seemed to be pointing at something. They were probably here for Tang Zhang. They were so insidious. Obviously, they were doing what Senior Yan liked, pushing Tang Zhang into the fire pit. Yi Dingdang clenched Tang Zhang's hand tightly and said indignantly, "They are too despicable. Are they trying to gang up on Tang Zhang again?" Feng Xinyang's face was also full of indignation. Apparently, she had seen through the other party's intentions. She said, "Ding Dang, don't worry. No one will be able to hurt the little handsome brother." Yan Padian glanced at Yan Luyun and said, "Then let's let our family's Luyun throw a brick to attract Jade first." Yan Luyun took a step forward and cupped his hands towards everyone. "Since grandfather has given this order, then I will respectfully accept it. I will take this opportunity to wish grandfather a happy birthday. I wish grandfather a happy life like the East Sea and a long life like the South Mountain." Yan Padian nodded kindly. "I wonder which young hero is willing to fight with Lu Yun." Everyone was silent. Yan Luyun was one of the 4 young masters of the capital, and everyone knew that he had the highest cultivation in his entire life. Ordinary people would not dare to challenge him. "I'll do it." Suddenly, a young man stood out. This person had a resolute expression, and with a single glance, it was obvious that he was not an ordinary hedonistic son of rich parents. "Brother Yan, you have to be lenient. Don't overdo it," the young man said. Yan Luyun laughed out loud. "This is just a spar." Without wasting any time, the two of them collided with each other. Yan Luyun's martial arts were extremely ferocious and overbearing, and the challenger was not weak either. The two of them jumped up and down, and it was difficult to determine who would win. Tang Zheng's pupils constricted. This Yan Luyun was indeed not an ordinary person. His power was far above Tang Zheng's. This Yan family's inheritance was really good. The entire family was actually martial arts experts. The two sides fought to their heart's content for hundreds of moves. Suddenly, Yan Luyun's elbow struck the challenger's chest fiercely. Whiz! The challenger directly flew out and landed steadily on the ground. He did not vomit blood, but instead laid on the ground in a slightly sorry state. The outcome had already been decided. Yan Luyun was strong, and this challenger had been completely defeated. Paw paw paw. Warm applause rang out non-stop. Someone praised, "Young Master Yan is indeed extraordinary. This series of attacks is truly too domineering." Following that, a few more young martial warriors went up to the stage to fight. The atmosphere was extremely intense, causing the birthday banquet to have an additional valiant wind, but it caused Yan Padian to beam. Suddenly, Chu Mingxian said loudly, "Everyone's battles are very exciting. After a few decades, all of us will no longer be here, and this world will be yours. However, there is still a young expert who has not gone up on stage today. Tang Jing, you won't be a coward, right?" Schwa. Everyone's gaze was attracted to Tang Jing. Their expressions were a little strange. Chu Mingxian had really spared no effort. His sneak attack just now had failed, and now he was actually encouraging him to participate in this kind of arena competition. It was obvious that he did not want to let Tang Jing have an easy time. Yi Dingdang could not help but fly into a rage, and said furiously, "What do you mean? Are you still not satisfied with the sneak attack on Tang Jing just now?" The corner of Chu Mingxuan's mouth raised, and he said, "Just now, I was not sneak attacking, but testing his skills. After testing him, I realized that he was truly unfathomable. Wouldn't it be a waste if such an expert did not let everyone broaden their horizons? Moreover, the others were all on stage, and he was the only one who was not on stage. Could it be that he was not sincerely wishing Elder Yen well? You don't even agree to this small request." He was too vicious to actually use such words to force Tang Jing. "Humph, don't think that I don't know what you're planning. We won't fall for your trap," Yi Dingdang said straightforwardly. Chu Mingxian knowingly asked, "What are you talking about? I don't understand." "Tang Jing, it can't be that you don't want to fight, right? If you're afraid, just say it. Are you afraid? I still don't know how to write this word." Tang Jing took a step forward and said fearlessly. "Tang Jing, don't be rash. You took his palm strike just now and were injured. It's not suitable for you to continue fighting," Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang hurriedly advised. However, Tang Jing was unmoved. His situation was indeed not optimistic. Although he had temporarily suppressed the restless pure yang energy, if he were to make a move now, he could not guarantee that the pure yang energy would not rebound. However, he could not swallow this anger. After being forced to this extent, if he continued to be a coward, wouldn't he be scolded to death? Seeing that, the others all shook their heads. Tang Jing was still too impulsive, and had fallen for the other party's provocation. Yan Qingyi's eyes lit up, and said in a low voice, "I'm really looking forward to him making a move." Yan Padian laughed, "I'm also looking forward to it. This young man is too mysterious. I can also see from him which sect he comes from." This was one of the reasons why Yan Padian agreed to Chu Mingxuan's request. Yan Padian boasted that his martial arts had reached perfection, but this time, he discovered that he could not even see through the cultivation of a junior. This made him feel unconvinced, and he could use this opportunity to investigate. He wanted to see who exactly taught such a mysterious disciple. King of Medicine revealed a worried expression, and said, "Little friend Tang Jing just suffered an internal injury, and now that you're making a move, it's not appropriate." Yan Padian comforted him, "Don't worry, with so many of us here, your precious disciple will not be in any danger." King of Medicine laughed bitterly. He didn't agree to be my disciple. This kid is really confused. Yan Patin shook his head and sighed. Yan Qingyi's bright eyes were already fixed on Tang Zhang's body. He walked to the empty space in the center of the hall and stared at Chu Mingxian. Chu Xiaofeng did not come. Could it be that you want to go on stage yourself today? That's right, didn't you sneak attack him just now? This time, it doesn't seem impossible for the big to bully the small again. He dares. Yi Tianlei shouted angrily. Chu Mingxian laughed coldly. Of course it's not me. Since it's a young elite, then it's naturally a competition between juniors. Xiao Hun, since Tang Zhang is so powerful, then go and ask him for some pointers. Yes, uncle. A person stood out from behind Chu Mingxian. Just now, this person had been standing behind Chu Mingxian, causing people to almost ignore his existence. Chu Xiaohui. Everyone exclaimed, it's actually him. This time, Tang Zhang will be very troublesome. That's right, Chu Xiaohui is a 9th stage post-celestial stage cultivator. He is slightly weaker than Yan Luyun. Tang Zhang is so young, he is definitely not his match. Hearing the discussions of the crowd, Chu Mingxian explained, everyone, don't underestimate Tang Zhang. Raging Inferno is a first-grade pre-celestial stage. Didn't he also die in Tang Zhang's hands? Xiao Hui is a 9th stage post-celestial stage, far inferior to Tang Zhang. I just want him to give me a few pointers. Chu Mingxuan's words were dignified, but in reality, he was hiding evil intentions. Just now, when he exchanged a palm strike with Tang Zhang, he had already roughly guessed Tang Zhang's cultivation. He was definitely not a pre-celestial expert like the legend said, and being able to kill Raging Inferno was definitely just a coincidence. Just now, he had injured him, and now that he had called Chu Xiaohui, who was at the 9th stage of the post-celestial stage, to fight, he believed that victory was in the bag. If he could accidentally kill Tang Zhang in the battle later on, that would be too wonderful. Even if he couldn't kill Tang Zhang, being able to make him lose face could be considered as regaining face for the Chu clan. Chu Mingxian used his bitter conscience, while the people of the Song family opened their eyes wide, preparing to watch a good show. Qin Lao whispered into Song Yu's ear, young master, Tang Zhang is injured, he is definitely not Chu Xiaohui's match. This time, he is going to make a fool of himself. Song Yu's mouth flashed with a cold smile, but he did not say a word. Yi Dingdang could not help but shout, you guys are too much. If you have the ability, wait until Tang Zhang recovers from his injuries before fighting. What kind of ability is bullying others like this? Hearing that, Chu Mingxian did not move at all. It's not old Master Yan's birthday in the future, time waits for no one. Tang Zhang, don't fight with him. This kind of person is shameless. Yi Dingdang advised Tang Zhang. Not fighting. How could that be? Tang Zhang did not want to escape, and said, all right, then bring it on, let's see who wins and who loses. Chu Mingxian gave Chu Xiaohui a look. Chu Xiaohui understood, his face darkened, and cupped his hands, then please enlighten me. Whiz. Chapter 300. Tang Zhang opened his 10 fingers like a claw, grabbing towards Chu Xiaohui's ankle. Suddenly, Chu Xiaohui's legs suddenly changed the direction of his attack, and instead of sweeping towards the top of Tang Zhang's head, it swept towards his waist. The change of moves was so fast that Tang Zhang was unable to defend against it. Tang Zhang was shocked, and reacted accordingly, but it was already too late. With a muffled bang, Tang Zhang's waist was ruthlessly struck by the whip kick. Tang Zhang immediately fell to the side. Luckily he used his palm to support himself on the floor. He did not fall to the ground. In that instant, the opponent's attack arrived again, as fast as lightning. Tang Zhang was only at the 4th stage of the foundation establishment stage, and was already a few levels lower than Chu Xiaohui's 9th stage post-celestial stage. Previously, he was also ambushed by Chu Mingxian, and was injured, which made things worse. After eating this kick, he felt that the calm pure yang energy had erupted like a volcano, causing the temperature of his entire body to increase explosively. F***ck, damn it, I've messed up this time. Without the pure yin energy to neutralize it, my body will explode and I will die. Tang Jing thought sorrowfully. Seeing Chu Shaohui kicking towards him again, the power was obviously even more terrifying than the previous attack. The others were anxious. Could Tang Jing withstand this kick? Immediately, everyone held their breaths. Yi Dingdong's hands were tightly clenched, and his lips were even bitten to the point of bleeding. However, he was completely unaware of it, and looked at Tang Jing in a daze. At this time, Tang Jing could not summon the heaven-shocking bow out of thin air, and could only use his palms to block it. Why did he miss? There was a black figure in front of him, and this figure seemed a little familiar. Bang! With a muffled sound, a person flew out. Ah! Everyone cried out in alarm at the same time. The person who flew out was not Tang Jing, but Chu Shaohui, and another black-clothed man appeared in front of everyone. Who is this? This black-clothed man was clearly not one of the original people in the hall, but had suddenly flown in from outside the hall. The Yen family was heavily guarded, yet this person was able to quietly enter this place, indicating that he was definitely an expert. The man in black did not pay attention to the other people's surprise, nor did he have the slightest fear because this was the famous Yen family. Instead, like a whirlwind, he rushed toward Chu Shaohui. Before Chu Shaohui could land on the ground, he found that his leg was grabbed by the man in black. He was shocked. Just now, he didn't even see the other party's movements clearly. Then, he felt like he had kicked a metal plate, and was sent flying by a surge of power. At this moment, seeing that one of his legs was caught, he hurriedly used his other leg to perform a chain kick. A series of kicks landed on his opponent's body. Bang bang bang. However, this person was like a boulder. He did not move at all and did not even make a sound. However, Chu Shaohui saw the fierce light in the other party's eyes and knew that something was wrong. The man in black raised his fist, aimed at the leg he was grabbing, and smashed it down. Ka-cha! The sound of bones cracking made one's scalp go numb. Chu Shaohui's eyes widened as he opened his mouth and screamed. Ah, it hurts so much. The others turned pale with fright. Who was this black-clothed man? His attacks were too ruthless. He actually broke Chu Shaohui's leg in one move. Chu Shaohui was a 9th stage post-celestial stage martial artist. Could it be that this black-clothed man was a pre-celestial stage martial artist? Chu Mingxuan's expression had already changed. Chu Shaohui was the one with the highest cultivation in the 3rd generation of monks, but this time, his leg was actually broken by the other party. How could he not be angry? He couldn't help but shout, "Stop!" The black-clothed man acted as if he didn't hear anything. He grabbed the other party's other leg with lightning speed and did the same thing. With a "kacha" sound, the bone broke, and a piece of white bone even pierced through the skin. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Too ruthless, this person was too ruthless. Whiz! Chu Mingxian finally made his move and rushed towards the black-clothed man, preparing to snatch his nephew back. However, the black-clothed man was even faster than him. With a pull of his arm, Chu Shaohui was grabbed by the neck and blocked in front of his chest. In order to avoid accidentally injuring Chu Shaohui, Chu Mingxian had no choice but to stop. The black-clothed man brought the screaming Chu Shaohui back to Tang Zheng's side, and Tang Zheng finally saw the black-clothed man clearly, and couldn't help but be dumbstruck. Huang Xiang. Tian Chanzi's puppet. How could it be him? Tang Zheng was truly too shocked. Ever since the ordinary balance parted ways, it had already been a few months. He had not contacted Tian Chanzi at all, and he did not know if Tian Chanzi had found any other cultivators. But why would Huang Xiang appear here at this time? The others also looked at Huang Xiang in shock, and even Yan Padian and the King of Medicine stood up at the same time. Yan Padian looked at Huang Xiang suspiciously. This person seemed to be very evil, and was actually an expert of the first grade of the pre-celestial stage. The King of Medicine was even more dumbstruck, and could not help but exclaim, "It's him." He had met Huang Xiang once before. Back then, when Tang Zheng was injured and hospitalized, Huang Xiang went to assassinate Tang Zheng, but was stopped by the King of Medicine. That night's battle was a narrow victory, but from Huang Xiang's actions just now, the King of Medicine could already tell that the other party's cultivation had improved greatly, and was far from what he could contend against. What was going on? Didn't this person want to kill Tang Zheng? Why would he appear here to protect Tang Zheng instead? Hearing the King of Medicine's exclamation, Yan Padian asked curiously, "King of Medicine, do you know him?" "We've met once." "It's a long story." The Ya family was not unfamiliar with Huang Xiang at all. They already knew that Huang Xiang had been subdued by Tang Zheng, but they never thought that he would appear in front of the Yan family in such a way. The others did not recognize Huang Xiang, so they all shouted angrily, "Who is this person?" Seeing that everyone was looking at each other in dismay, Chu Mingxian took a step forward and glared at him. "Tang Zheng, is this the helper you invited?" Tang Zheng's entire body was boiling hot and his face had also turned red, but he did not have much strength to speak. He sneered, and did not comment. "Hurry up and release Xiao Hui, or else I'll make sure you won't be able to leave this house today." Chu Mingxian berated sternly. Tang Zheng still did not say a word, but Huang Xiang made a move, and the hand that was grabbing onto Chu Xiaohui's neck suddenly retracted. Everyone's expression changed, and Chu Mingxian shouted in shock, "No!" But it was all too late. Only the crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. Chu Xiaohui's neck was easily crushed. Chu Xiaohui's head drooped softly like a dead dog as he died. What? The black-clothed man really killed Chu Xiaohui just like that. Although Chu Xiaohui was not Chu Mingxuan's biological son, he was still the most powerful expert in the third generation of the Chu clan. Furthermore, he was not like Chu Xiaofeng, who only knew how to play around. He was someone who Chu Mingxian had high hopes for, but he was killed by the black-clothed man in front of everyone's eyes. The black-clothed man did not hesitate in the slightest. Everyone felt that this was simply a dream. This black-clothed man didn't seem to put the famous Chu clan in his eyes at all. Huang Xiang didn't have much of a mind, he was just a killing machine. Even if it was the Heavenly King, he wouldn't put him in his eyes, let alone the Chu clan. Since Chu Xiaohui was dead, Chu Mingxian no longer had any scruples. Furthermore, in his rage, he did not care about anything else. With a roar, he struck Huang Xiang's body with his palm. His speed was too fast, Huang Xiang didn't even have time to dodge, and took the palm strike head-on. Bang! Huang Xiang flew out, fiercely smashing into a pillar, and landed on the ground in a sorry state. Dead? Everyone had doubts in their hearts. After taking such a shocking palm strike from a pre-celestial martial artist, he definitely wouldn't be able to survive, right? Chu Mingxian was very confident that this palm strike was enough to take the other party's life, but he did not stop there. His target was Tang Zheng. "Tang Zheng, Xiaohui is dead. I want you to pay with your life." Chu Mingxian roared. "Stop!" Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang both moved at the same time. The two of them were very fast, and in the blink of an eye, they were already behind Chu Mingxian. Tang Zheng was already dizzy from the pure yang energy, and did not have the strength to resist at all. Seeing Chu Mingxian launch a fatal attack at him, he was powerless to do anything. "Damn, Tian Chanzi, are you really going to watch me die?" He cursed in his heart. But Tian Chanzi did not appear, because Huang Xiang was blocking in front of him again. But this time, Huang Xiang had also prepared his defense. He kicked towards Chu Mingxuan's chest, causing the air to explode, and the air was compressed to the extreme by this kick. Chu Mingxian turned pale with fright. How could this black-clothed man not die? He was very clear on how powerful his palm strike was. However, at this moment, Chu Mingxian was being attacked from both sides. In front of him was Huang Xiang, and behind him was the Ya family couple. If he was hit, he would probably lose half of his life. Stop! Suddenly, a loud shout rang out, and a huge gust of wind rose up from the ground. Chu Mingxian felt as if he was flying through the clouds, and landed lightly on the ground without any injuries. His original position had become a person. It was not Yan Qishan, but Yan Qishan. Yan Qishan threw out both of his palms, each facing the left and right directions. Bang bang bang. 3 muffled sounds rang out. Yan Qishan did not move at all, while Yi Tianlei and the other 2 were sent flying, but they were not injured. Obviously, Yan Qishan did not have any intention of hurting anyone. This was the power of the Grand Master stage. Facing 3 pre-celestial martial artists, he could advance and retreat as he pleased. Stop fighting, Yan Qishan said with a dark face. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang only wanted to save Tang Jing, and did not want to continue fighting with Yan Qishan. Furthermore, this attack had already made them realize the difference between them. The Yan family had 2 Grandmaster stage experts, and this foundation was indeed something that the other families could not compare to. No wonder they were able to sit firmly on the throne of the 4 great clans. The others could not help but secretly cheer. Today's birthday banquet was truly the right thing to do. There was actually such a wonderful show, and they were lucky enough to see a Grandmaster make a move. However, Chu Mingxian did not rejoice that he had survived a calamity. Instead, he became even more furious and roared, "Elder Yan, everyone has seen everything today. It's not that I'm starting this, but Tang Zheng's accomplice trespassed into the Yan family and even cruelly killed my nephew, Xiao Hui. I must make Tang Zheng and this black-clothed man pay with their lives. If you're dead, then you're dead. You still want people to pay with their lives. Hee, if I kill you, you won't be so noisy anymore." Suddenly, a light voice came from the roof. Chapter 301. This light voice came from the roof, shocking everyone. There were so many people present, and there were so many experts, yet no one noticed that there was someone above them. Everyone raised their heads at the same time and saw a person sitting on the roof beam, swinging his legs casually. This person had sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He had a head full of long black hair as he looked at the people below in ridicule. Yan Padian and Yan Qishan looked at each other. This father and son pair had the highest cultivation out of all of them, and they were even in the martial ancestor realm. However, just like the others, the 2 of them did not notice any trace of this person. This made them tremble in fear. Where did such an expert come from? Yi Dingdang resisted the overwhelming pure yang energy and raised his head to look. A trace of joy flashed past his eyes. Tian Chanzi, he had actually arrived a long time ago. Tian Chanzi also saw Tang Zheng's gaze, and winked at him, indicating that he should be at ease. Tang Zheng heaved a sigh of relief, but the others held their breaths as they looked at this stranger in bewilderment. Especially Chu Mingxian, when he heard the other party's undisguised provocation, he flew into a rage. "Who are you, to actually dare to speak such arrogant words? Oh, do you think I can't kill you?" Tian Chanzi asked in ridicule. "This place is filled with experts. What can you do to me? Moreover, for trespassing into the Yan family, you will definitely die." Chu Mingxian had the support of the Yan family, so he was not afraid at all. Furthermore, This person had barged into the Yen family without permission, which was a great disrespect to the Yen family. Chu Mingxian believed that Yen Padian would definitely not stand by and watch. You dare to question me? You have quite the guts. Moreover, you keep saying that you want to kill Tang Jing, so I don't mind sending you to your death first. With that said, Tian Chanzi's figure disappeared from the beam, and in the blink of an eye, another person appeared in front of Chu Mingxian. Chu Mingxian wanted to circulate his energy to resist, but he realized that he didn't have much strength to resist. A terrifying aura lingered at the bottom of his heart, causing him to be unable to resist. What's going on? Why do I have such a feeling? He turned pale with fright. There was nowhere to run. When the others saw that Chu Mingxian did not move at all, and did not show any signs of resistance, they were greatly astonished. Was Chu Mingxian stupid? Stop! Suddenly, a heaven-shaking explosive shout sounded out. Yen Padian leaped over everyone's heads and stood in front of Chu Mingxian. Bang! When the two palms collided, Tian Chanzi landed steadily on the ground, but Yen Padian retreated 3 steps and crashed into Chu Mingxuan's body, causing him to fall to the ground in a sorry state. Ah! Cries of alarm rose from all directions. Everyone felt that this scene was too inconceivable. Yen Padian, the Grandmaster, had actually taken 3 steps back, but this mysterious person had landed steadily on the ground. Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. First, there was a black-clothed man, and now there was this mysterious expert. Where the hell did these monsters come from? Father! Yen Qishan supported Yen Padian with his entire body, and his face also became gloomy. The father and son were both grandmaster martial artists, so they could understand the terror of Tian Chanzi better than anyone else. Tian Chanzi curled his lips carelessly. The so-called 100-year-old family is nothing more than this. When the others heard this, their faces turned pale. This person really dared to boast, and did not put the Yen family in his eyes at all. Chu Mingxian had just survived a calamity, and was filled with lingering fear. He finally understood that he had walked through the gates of hell. Hearing the other party's disdainful words, Chu Mingxian stood up in a sorry state and said, Elder Yen, we absolutely cannot let this person go. Yen Qishan glared at Chu Mingxian. Chu Mingxuan's heartstrings trembled, and he immediately shut up. He had never seen such a look in the eyes of the Yen family's father and son, which meant that the threat of this mysterious person was extraordinary. Yen Padian took a step forward, cupped his fists and said, May I ask which expert you are, to come to my humble abode? Yen family is honored to have you here. Tian Chanzi chuckled, Don't be hypocritical, I am not interested in Yen family at all. I just heard that someone wanted my disciple's life, so I did not hesitate to make a move. As his master, of course I have to seek justice for my disciple. Disciple, may I know who my disciple is? Yen Padian asked curiously. Tian Chanzi glanced at Tang Jing and said, Good disciple, quickly come over and let me take a look. I haven't seen you for so many days, I really miss you. Tang Jing could not help but roll his eyes. Tian Chanzi, this guy, was taking advantage of him again. He did not admit that he was his disciple. However, in order to deceive others, he could not refute him. He could only resentfully walk over. Be good, call me master. Tian Chanzi laughed sinisterly. Master. Tang Jing had no choice but to compromise. Tian Chanzi laughed out loud and grabbed Tang Jing's wrist. He could already feel the surging pure yang energy in his body and knew what was going on. Looks like the situation is not optimistic. Nonsense. Tian Chanzi did not get angry, but patted his shoulder and said, Don't worry, with your master here, I will definitely help you vent your anger. When the others heard this, they all looked at Chu Mingxian. Without a doubt, these words were directed at Chu Mingxian. Chu Mingxuan's face instantly turned pale, and he subconsciously hid behind Yen Padian. Am I Tang Zhang's master? Yen Padian asked in surprise. Of course, the guy behind you wants to deal with my disciple. Move aside, I want to teach him a lesson today. Tian Chanzi waved his hand, indicating for Yen Padian to leave. This casual attitude caused the others to feel a chill in their hearts. This person was too ferocious, he actually dared to speak to Yen Padian in such a manner. One must know that Yen Padian was an invincible existence in the capital. However, this mysterious expert obviously did not put him in his eyes. Tang Jing actually had such a master, wasn't this too heaven-defying? Many people looked at Tang Jing with complicated gazes. Envy, jealousy, hatred, and so on. Today is this old man's 80th birthday, and Ming Xian is a guest of the Yen family. Why don't you give me some face, and this matter will end here? Yen Padian said calmly. Tian Chanzi shrugged his shoulders, glanced at Tang Jing, and said, Disciple, what should we do now? My master is not handing him over. Before Tang Jing could reply, Tian Chanzi asked and answered himself, I know what you mean. Just now, that guy surnamed Chu wanted to kill you. If we were to let go of such a person so easily, then wouldn't we, master and disciple, lose a lot of face? In the future, anyone would dare to ride on our heads and act like a tyrant. Everyone's heart trembled. These words were too straightforward. This was not a peace talk, but a direct fight. Yen Qishan said impatiently, This is the Yen family, my father has the final say. Furthermore, Tang Zheng is Tianlei's son-in-law, this is a misunderstanding, so please don't go too far, so as to avoid getting along with each other. Hearing that, Tian Chanzi's eyes widened, his gaze locked onto Yi Dingdang in the crowd, and patted Tang Jing in surprise, praising, Wow, my good disciple, you've finally understood. Not bad, I've long felt that this girl from the Ye family is not bad, now you've finally succeeded. Yi Dingdang's face flushed red when she heard that. She glanced at Tang Jing with her beautiful eyes and thought to herself, so I didn't guess wrong before, he had long since harbored ill intentions towards her. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang's expressions were a little strange, they didn't know whether to laugh or cry as they looked at Tian Chanzi. They had always respected this expert, they never thought that he would have such a side to his personality. The others looked at the Ya family with even more complicated expressions. No wonder the Ya family disregarded the Song family's face and broke off the marriage, and instead betrothed Yi Dingdang to an unknown brat. It turned out that this brat actually had such a deep background, and had such a powerful master. Song Yu's expression changed slightly, she was bewildered. She had underestimated Tang Jing too much in the past, this love rival was much more complicated than she had imagined. My disciple is the son-in-law of the Ye family, what does it have to do with me? I'm just venting my anger for my disciple and seeking justice. Tian Chanzi continued. Your Highness, nephew Mingxian is a guest. Forgive me for not being able to comply, but it's impossible for me to hand him over to you. Yen Padian said resolutely. Heaven Monk shrugged his shoulders indifferently, I had already expected this result. Since you insist on going your own way, then let's have a fight. Let's see who's the real deal. This is the real deal. Alright, since you say so, it just so happens that I haven't exercised my muscles and bones for many years. Today, please enlighten me. Yen Padian was not afraid, but instead took a step forward and stepped forward. No matter what, Yen Padian could not retreat. This was the Yen family, and with so many people watching today, if he retreated, then the reputation of the Yen family would be damaged. This was a fatal blow. In addition, he was also very curious as to where such an expert came from. If he didn't fight, how could he see through the other party's clues? Father, today is your birthday. Let me do it. Yen Qishan said without hesitation. Tian Chanzi chuckled, are you fighting with me? Not long ago, I fought with a fool who used a sword. Today, I want to see who is stronger between you and that fool. A fool who uses a sword. Everyone was stunned for a moment, and many of the people who reacted quickly had already turned pale. Qin Lao was one of them, and he was shocked in his heart. A fool who uses a sword, could it be that he is talking about the sword god? The sword god loves the sword like a fool, and to ordinary people, he is already a little silly. He is definitely talking about the sword god. Back then, when old man Qin saw Tang Zhang's heaven-flying immortal sword technique, he was shocked. Back then, he made a comparison between this sword technique and the sword god's sword technique. At that time, he even suspected that Tang Zhang was the sword god's disciple, but later on, he denied this point. This time, when he saw Tian Chanzi, he was glad that he had made the decision back then. If he had stayed in the ordinary balance back then and caused harm to Tang Zhang, then this person would definitely have appeared. Not only him, even Song Yu would not be able to leave the ordinary balance. You fought with the sword god? Yen Padian asked in bewilderment. Someone seems to call him that. Tian Chanzi said. After receiving this confirmation, everyone's heart trembled. This person was too heaven-defying. He actually exchanged blows with the elusive sword god. Chapter 302. Tian Chanzi seemed to have seen through the thoughts of the others, and said, that fool was injured in the end. The sword god was defeated. In their eyes, the sword god's attainments in the martial way were even higher than Yen Potion's, but he was still defeated by this person. What did this mean? This meant that this person was abnormally strong. The faces of Yen Potian and his son darkened at the same time. Yen Qishan had volunteered to fight in his father's place, but now it seemed that he did not have the qualifications to do so. Although he was also a Grandmaster martial artist, he was only at the first level of the Grandmaster martial artist. Yen Padian said in a deep voice, Qishan, step down. Since this person can injure the sword god, then I will experience his skills today. Tian Chanzi laughed and said, good disciple, just watch for a while, I'll send him away first. I can still hold on. Tang Zhang clenched his teeth and said. Seeing that, Yi Tianlei really wanted to persuade him, but he swallowed his words back. The scene of Chu Mingxian pressuring him step by step was still vivid in his mind, causing him to be unable to persuade him. Let's let Tang Zhang's master handle this matter. I've long disliked Chu Mingxian, so I can borrow senior's hands to teach him a lesson. Feng Xinyang advised in a low voice. Yi Tianlei sighed secretly. After such a disturbance, the capital was truly going to be in turmoil, especially since the background and strength that Tang Zhang had displayed this time was enough to attract the attention of all the powers. After this, the reputation of the Ya family will definitely rise to an unprecedented level. Feng Xinyang sighed with emotion. The Ya family had made the right move, and had reaped a lot of benefits. Yi Dingdang did not have that many complicated thoughts, he only heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Since Tian Chanzi had come, then Tang Zhang would be safe. She immediately ran over to support Tang Zhang and asked with concern, how are you? Their hands were tightly clasped together. Tang Zhang's entire body trembled as a wave of pure yin energy majestically entered his body. His eyes lit up and he subconsciously tightened his grip on her hand. Yi Dingdang was overjoyed. Both of his hands held onto his hand, their fingers intertwined, as if their souls were leaning against each other. She had a strange feeling in her heart, but when she felt the high temperature of his palm, she hurriedly asked, why is your body temperature so high? Tang Zhang took a deep breath and said, I'm fine. Although the purine energy of the purine energy, it was not enough to let him out of his predicament to the brink of the situation. But your body temperature? Tang Zhang shook his head, I'm fine. Then, he circulated his energy and quickly absorbed her purine energy. Seeing that, Yi Dingdang did not ask any further. The two of them looked at Tian Chanzi at the same time, only to see Tian Chanzi ordering Huang Xiang, protect him well, kill anyone who dares to harm him. Huang Xiang did not say anything, but stood in front of Tang Jing without hesitation. His eyes shone with a fierce light that could captivate one's soul. The others subconsciously avoided his gaze, not daring to look him in the eye. Come, let me see who is stronger between you and that idiot who uses a sword. Tian Chanzi took a step forward. This step was not big, but with just this step, he had closed the distance between him and Yen Potian by a few meters. Yen Potian's face darkened as he lightly punched out. This punch looked ordinary and did not have much power. But when his fist arrived in front of Tian Chanzi, bang bang bang, the air around Tian Chanzi released a series of explosive sounds, but the air turned into fists that could not be seen with the naked eye, and the vast aura caused one's heart to tremble. This was a very mysterious realm of fist techniques. It was a realm where the fist intent that burst forth resonated with the air, causing the air to also become as powerful as a fist. The air was everywhere, so the attack was naturally everywhere. Unless one was an expert of the same realm, it would be impossible to unleash such an exquisite cultivation technique. Although the others did not understand, when they saw such a scene, some of them were so scared that their faces turned pale and their legs went weak. The corner of Tian Chanzi's mouth curled up, and he also punched out. The moment he punched out, he displayed an incomparable might, and his fist seemed to have instantly grown larger. No! It was definitely not getting bigger, but the surface of his fist was emitting a faint layer of light. His palm glowed. What realm was this? Only a few people knew that this was a manifestation of a cultivation technique that had been trained to the extreme. This was the manifestation of the inner strength being released. When the inner strength was forced out of the body, there would be this kind of fist light. However, they did not know that this fist light was not caused by the release of inner strength, but by the release of innate qi. However, Tian Chanzi was good at passing off fake as real, so no one else could discover any clues. When Tian Chanzi fought with such a warrior expert, of course he would not rashly use spells. These people were all smart people. If the other party were to see through his identity as a cultivator, although Tian Chanzi was not afraid at all, it would cause trouble for Tang Jing. Tian Chanzi was an old monster who had lived for over 1,000 years. He was the one who was truly smart, and when he considered the problem, he would not easily reveal any flaws. A fist with a fist light met the attack that was everywhere and merged into the air. Boom! With a loud sound, screams came from the crowd. Many people were blown away by the energy that spread out in all directions, and some even spat out blood. Yan Qishan hurriedly advised loudly, "Everyone, quickly leave the hole." Everyone stepped out bravely. They were originally prepared to watch a good show, but this was only the first move, and it had already burst forth with such terrifying power. It caused them to personally experience the danger of an expert's exchange of blows. Being a spectator was also a life-threatening situation. However, no one left. They all gathered near the entrance of the hall and stretched their necks to look at the two sides of the battle. There were only 2 people left in the hall. Even a pre-celestial martial artist like Yi Tianlei had no choice but to retreat. This punch was just an appetizer. Tian Chanzi and Yen Potian's clothes fluttered in the wind, but their bodies did not move in the slightest. This old man is using the dragon form technique. Please enlighten me. As soon as Yen Potian finished speaking, his body actually became illusory. However, this was not a spell, but a violent fluctuation produced by the inner strength in his body, causing the surrounding air to fluctuate as well. Ripples spread out in circles, making people feel as if his body was about to disappear. Actually, he was still standing in place. Roar! With a furious roar that sounded like a dragon's roar, a wave of air rose into the air. His entire body turned into an angry dragon as he attacked Tian Chanzi. This scene was an eye-opener. In the eyes of many people, Yen Padian seemed to have truly turned into an angry dragon, attacking with an invincible might. Tian Chanzi formed a sword art in his hand, causing the air to vibrate, and a sword appeared in his hand. It was not a real sword, but a sword formed from innate qi, emitting a faint light. Sword qi, it's actually sword qi, and it's sword qi that has condensed into a real sword. The crowd cried out in alarm. People who practiced sword arts needed a certain amount of power to cultivate sword qi, but it was not too difficult. For example, pre-celestial stage martial artists could usually unleash sword qi. However, to condense sword qi into a real sword like Tian Chanzi was simply wishful thinking. It was absolutely impossible. Many people looked at the real sword and understood that Tian Chanzi was not exaggerating when he said that he had injured the sword god. He really did have the strength to do so, and he had even used the sword that the sword god was most proud of to injure the other party. My good disciple, it seems that this sword technique is different from what you usually use. Tian Chanzi roared. Tang Zheng's heart moved, knowing that Tian Chanzi was about to use the heaven-flying immortal sword technique. Tang Zheng had already completely learned the first move, Wind Surge, and the second move had already been mastered to the 30th move. Tian Chanzi was going to show himself, he would not let go of this rare opportunity. The others also stared at Tian Chanzi, knowing that this sword technique was not ordinary. If they could comprehend one or two of it, then they would benefit for the rest of their lives. Whoosh, the sword danced, and the air in all directions began to churn, as if it had turned into clouds and mist. Violent winds rose from the ground, howling incessantly. Wind Surge. The move Tian Chanzi used was the first move of the heaven-flying immortal sword technique. Tang Zheng's pupils constricted, he himself definitely did not have such a strong power. Tian Chanzi's move was many times stronger than his. Paw paw paw. The tables and chairs in the hall turned into dust amidst the tumbling waves of air, and then, they mixed with the air and condensed on the surface of the long sword. In an instant, the long sword suddenly became 10 times larger. The sword was originally only half a meter long, but now, it had become 5 meters long and incomparably wide. This is no longer the first move. This is the second move. Yes, this is the second move that I have yet to fully comprehend. Tang Zheng became excited, his eyes wide open. Roar! Yen Potion's aura had also finished accumulating, and the furious dragon that he had transformed into increased by several times. He opened his mouth and bit towards Tian Chanzi. Sword-breaking Qian Jun. Tian Chanzi roared, the gigantic sword slashed down, ruthlessly slashing onto the body of the furious dragon. In that instant, time seemed to have stopped, and the air in the hall seemed to have frozen. Everyone's eyes froze at this moment, and the figures of the gigantic sword and the raging dragon were deeply imprinted in their hearts. Many people who did not know martial arts or were weak felt their minds tremble as an indescribable pressure pressed down on their hearts. Their eyes rolled back and they fainted one after another. In the blink of an eye, dozens of people had already fainted. Those who persevered were all warriors above the 8th grade of body refining stage. Yidingdang's face was deathly pale, her legs were trembling, but a warm power was transmitted into her body from Tang Zheng's palm, allowing her to resist the power. Some of the pre-celestial martial artists present finally realized the difference between them and the Grandmaster. There was no way to make up for this kind of gap, it was a natural moat. All of this took a long time to describe, but in fact, it only took an instant. The gigantic sword shattered, and the raging dragon also disintegrated. A powerful wave of air soared into the sky, and smoke and dust rose in all directions. No one could see the people in the hall clearly. Kacha kacha kacha, a series of strange noises rang out, and before anyone could figure out what was going on, they heard a loud bang, and the large wooden building collapsed with a loud bang. Chapter 303. The wooden building collapsed and dust rose in all directions. Everyone retreated one after another as they stared at the messy ruins with their mouths agape. This wooden building had actually been torn apart during the battle between the two of them. Were they still human? It actually had such terrifying power. However, what happened to the two of them? Would they be buried in the ruins and die? Before anyone could react, two figures soared into the sky from the ruins and stood firmly in the middle of the ruins. However, there was not a single speck of dust or debris on their bodies. Their clothes fluttered in the wind. The others stared at the two of them, not knowing how the battle was going. Suddenly, Yen Potion's body swayed, and he retreated half a step. He sighed and said, "I've lost, my power is indeed extraordinary." Tian Chanzi chuckled and said, "Your power is not weak either, it's about the same as that idiot who uses the sword. You can be considered an expert in this world." Yes, Yen Potion's strength could indeed be considered an expert in this world, but if it was placed in the cultivation world of 1,000 years ago, it would not be that outstanding. Naturally, in Tian Chanzi's eyes, Yen Potion was not worth paying too much attention to. But when the others heard this, their expressions became especially complicated and interesting. Just how powerful was this mysterious expert? His tone was so big, and he had so easily defeated Yen Potion, who seemed unreachable to them. "May I ask your name? Why have I never heard of you before?" Yen Potion asked. "Hee, of course you haven't heard of me. As for my name, it's just a code name. There's no need for you to know." After Tian Chanzi finished speaking, he strode towards Tang Zheng, who was at the edge of the ruins. When the others saw this, they all retreated, as if they were afraid that Tian Chanzi would kill them. "My good disciple, did you see it clearly just now?" Tian Chanzi asked. Tang Zheng nodded his head. Those two moves of the heaven-flying immortal sword technique were completed in one go, causing Tang Zheng to be mesmerized by them, but he also had many different insights. Just now, he had completely comprehended the last 6 moves of the second move of the heaven-flying immortal sword technique, which meant that he had completely mastered the second move of the heaven-flying immortal sword technique, the 36 moves. The sword can break through 1,000 caddies. It has the power of 1,000 caddies. All enemies will be defeated by the sword. Tang Zheng said in a deep voice. Tian Chanzi nodded appreciatively and said, "Not bad. Now that you've learned 2 moves, the rest will depend on your luck." When the others heard this, they looked at Tang Zheng in shock. He had actually learned such a terrifying sword technique just now. Although they had clearly seen Tian Chanzi's sword move, they were still unable to grasp the main point. This was the ingenuity of the transcendent flying immortal sword technique. Even if an outsider could clearly see how the sword moved, without a sword technique, it would be useless. Many people looked at Tang Zheng with red eyes, thinking to themselves, if I were to learn those 2 sword techniques just now, then wouldn't I also be as powerful as this mysterious expert? That would simply be the trend of sweeping through the world. Of course, this was their wishful thinking. Even if Tang Zheng had already completely learned these 2 moves, the power he displayed was still incomparable to Tian Chanzi's. This was because of the limitations of one's cultivation. Although the moves were the same, the deeper one's cultivation, the greater the power. Now that no one is stopping us, let's solve the problem. Tian Chanzi turned around and locked onto Chu Mingxian, who was in the crowd. Chu Mingxuan's face instantly turned pale. He hid behind Yen Qishan and said, "Elder Yen, Brother Qishan, you can't let this person do whatever he wants." Yen Qishan's expression kept changing. He looked towards his father, but Yen Potion acted as if he did not see him. Immediately, Yen Qishan understood his father's decision. This mysterious person was too powerful. Although this was the Yen family's territory, in the face of such a powerful existence, the Yen family had no choice but to compromise. The Yen family was no longer prepared to protect Chu Mingxian. Although the Chu family had a close relationship with the Yan family, it was still not as big of a threat as Tian Chanzi. Yan Padian had fought with Tian Chanzi before, so he could deeply understand how terrifying he was, so he did not dare to offend him. Tian Chanzi chuckled, and asked jokingly, "Didn't you say that you were going to deal with my disciple? Why are you afraid now?" Chu Mingxian pretended to be fierce and shouted, "What are you doing? In broad daylight, if you dare to harm me, the Chu family will not let you off." Normally, Chu Mingxian would never say such threatening words, because ordinary people would not be able to threaten him at all. Even the people from the other great clans would not be able to make him so afraid, because the people from the great clans did not represent themselves, but the entire clan behind them. Every word and action of theirs had to be for the benefit of the clan. But Tian Chanzi obviously did not have such concerns. Since this person wanted to deal with Tang Jing, then he would naturally have to take revenge. Seeing Tian Chanzi walking over step by step, the rest of the people around him retreated like they were avoiding the plague, not daring to stay by Chu Mingxuan's side. Chu Mingxuan's face had already turned deathly pale, beads of sweat the size of beans seeped out of his forehead, and his legs were trembling. Although Tian Chanzi had not done anything yet, this soul-stirring aura caused his breathing to involuntarily become heavier. The others kept quiet out of fear as they stared at Tian Chanzi and Chu Mingxian. Some of them even rejoiced that they did not add insult to injury just now. The people of the Song family had this kind of feeling. Although they were also angry at Tang Jing, they did not show it on their faces. Otherwise, Tian Chanzi would also rush towards them, and the Song family would not be able to resist. Chu Mingxian retreating again and again. However, Tian Chanzi's pace was obviously faster than his, and in the blink of an eye, Tian Chanzi was already in front of him. Chu Mingxuan's heart turned cold. Suddenly, he had an idea, and shouted towards Yi Tianlei, "If anything happens to me today, the Chu family will definitely not let the Ya family off, and will definitely make the Ya family disappear from this world." Feng Xinyang's expression suddenly changed, and he said angrily, "Chu Mingxian, you are shouting crazily. Think about how you treated Tang Jing just now. You brought this upon yourself." Yi Tianlei's expression also became extremely ugly. Looking at the fear on Chu Mingxuan's face and the determination on Tian Chanzi's face, his mind raced. If Chu Mingxian really died, and died because of Tang Jing, then the Chu family will definitely blame this on the Ya family. Although the Ya family now has a great master martial artist, it has only been a few months, and their strength and foundation cannot compare to the Chu family. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tianlei had already made his decision, and hurriedly advised, "Senior, please spare his life, otherwise the situation will be too serious." Yi Tianlei taking the initiative to plead for mercy did not cause the others to look down on him, because they were very clear on what kind of storm Ming Xian's death would cause. Since Yi Tianlei was representing the Ya family now, he naturally had to consider the interests of the Ya family. But what made everyone's jaws drop was that Tian Chanzi did not even care about him, and attacked like lightning. Chu Mingxian pointed his foot in front of him and flew backwards. However, Heaven Monk did not give him the chance to dodge at all. He grabbed downwards with his big hand, and a strong suction force appeared. Chu Mingxian felt his entire body tighten, as if his blood was about to freeze. He stared at his opponent in fear, but there was nowhere to run. He had lived for most of his life and had always been pampered. When had he ever received such a fatal threat? Yi Dingdang looked at his father, then looked at Tian Chanzi and Chu Mingxian. In the end, he clenched his teeth and said, "Tang Jing, can you tell your master to stop? If Chu Mingxian dies, the Ya family will be in trouble." Tang Jing pondered for a moment. He was the son-in-law of the Ya family to the outside world. If Chu Mingxian really died in the hands of Tian Chanzi, the Chu family would definitely blame this on the Ya family. Moreover, he would be living in the capital for the next few years. If he really killed Chu Mingxian, the Chu family would definitely not be able to swallow this anger. If one did not know, the Chu family could also have a great master stage expert, which was an absolute threat to Tang Jing. This time, the most important thing for him was to display his strength and make others fear him. From today onwards, they would not dare to make a move against him without permission, so teaching Chu Mingxian a lesson was the most sensible thing to do. Looking at Yi Dingdang's anxious eyes, Tang Jing nodded and said to Tian Chanzi, "Master, be gentle." This call of "master" made Tian Chanzi feel comfortable all over, and he immediately cracked open his mouth to laugh. Although this was an act, hearing Tang Jing call him master, he was still happy from the bottom of his heart. Tian Chanzi's greatest regret in his life was not being able to take Tang Jing in as a disciple, so he felt that it was especially precious to have him call him master. If anyone else knew of this, they would definitely want to kneel in front of Tian Chanzi and continuously kowtow and call him master. Having this kind of master was simply a dream come true. Alright, you can avoid death, but you can't escape punishment, Tian Chanzi said lightly. The others all turned their heads and looked at Tang Jing in shock. His words had such a great effect, this disciple was simply too awesome. Many people had the same thought, they absolutely could not provoke Tang Jing. In the future, when they went back, they would have to warn their families that if they met this guy, they would have to avoid him and take a detour. Tang Jing had already become infamous for killing Raging Inferno earlier. Because of what happened today, his reputation became even more infamous, and no one would dare to provoke him in the future. This was also what Tang Jing hoped for. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang heaved a sigh of relief at the same time. As long as Chu Mingxian did not die, then the Ya family would not be so passive in this matter. At the same time, the father and son of the Yen family also heaved a sigh of relief. If Chu Mingxian was killed in the Yen family, then the Yen family and the Chu family would be finished. However, even if it wasn't completely over this time, there was very little affection left. The father and son of the Yen family had their own difficulties. Facing a powerful and mysterious existence like Tian Chanzi, not everyone, not every family, had the power to resist. When Chu Mingxian heard that he did not need to die, he was like a drowning person grabbing onto a life-saving straw. His brows revealed a trace of relief, but when he saw Heaven Monk's still cold eyes, he immediately felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. The death penalty could be avoided, but the punishment was hard to forgive. Chapter 304. This heart-wrenching scream caused the hearts of the others to tremble, especially the twisted expression on Chu Mingxuan's face. Many people who had fainted just now woke up because of this scream, but when they saw Chu Mingxuan's appearance, they immediately fainted from fright. Chu Mingxian immediately became sinister and terrifying, like an evil spirit that had crawled out of hell. His face alternated between green and white, and bean-sized beads of sweat covered his face. Furthermore, the bones in his body emitted a series of cracking sounds. A smart person would know that his bones were broken, and the bones were broken from the upper half of his body to the lower half of his body. His entire body was broken by Tian Chanzi's great strength. This kind of pain was truly unbearable, causing people to feel fear at the sight of it. However, Tian Chanzi's expression did not change at all, it was extremely calm. Suddenly, he let go of his hand, and Chu Mingxian could no longer scream. His entire body was trembling, and he was lying on the ground like a pile of mud, on the verge of death. Tian Chanzi clapped his hands, and glanced at the king of medicine without caring at all, and said, "You have a way to cure him." The king of medicine subconsciously nodded his head. He had studied this kind of bone-breaking technique for many years, so of course he was very proficient in it. Although Tian Chanzi had broken many of the other party's bones, the king of medicine really had miraculous pills that could reconnect these bones. However, Chu Mingxian was going to suffer greatly. It would take at least a year and a half to recover from this injury. Tian Chanzi said that the death penalty could be avoided, but the punishment was hard to forgive. This made the others feel that perhaps death would be better than this pain. The king of medicine came back to his senses, and stared at Tian Chanzi in astonishment, and said, "Senior, you know me? King of medicine, my disciple has some fate with you." Tian Chanzi said indifferently. The king of medicine looked towards Tang Jing, thinking that Tang Jing must have mentioned him to Tian Chanzi, and couldn't help but feel honored. Ever since he knew about the life-continuing pill, the king of medicine had treated Tang Jing, this mysterious master, as a senior. This was not in terms of martial arts, but in terms of medical skills. He had always fantasized that he would be able to ask for advice face to face one day, but he never thought that the opportunity would come so quickly. Although the others were very surprised that the king of medicine called Tian Chanzi senior, because from the looks of the two, Tian Chanzi was at most middle-aged, similar to Yi Tianlei and the others. He was much younger than the king of medicine and Yen Padian. Moreover, medicine was different from martial arts. Everyone knew that the king of medicine was the apricot forest saint, and was the most powerful person in this area, but he wholeheartedly called Tian Chanzi senior. Could it be that not only was this person skilled in martial arts, but his medical skills were also better than the king of medicine? This was truly heaven-defying. Medicine and martial arts were two completely different systems. This person had reached the peak of both fields, making them really want to suspect that Tian Chanzi was not human. Even Yan Padian could not help but look at Tian Chanzi in astonishment. The king of medicine was incomparably honored, and said excitedly, "Senior, it is my great honor to be able to meet you today. Junior has many things to ask of you." Tian Chanzi waved his hand and said, "I still have a lot of things to do. Next time, if you are fated to do so, I will give you a few pointers, but right now, I can give you a sentence. The way of the apricot forest is a type of great Tao. As long as you persevere and use your imagination is currently restricted too much. There are not many things in the world that are impossible, especially the way of the apricot forest, flesh and bones, and the resurrection of the dead, are not nonsense, but can really be realized." Every time Tian Chanzi said a word, the king of medicine's heart seemed to have been baptized, thumping wildly, as if it was about to burst out of his chest. His eyes also widened, his eyes shining, and he trembled as he muttered to himself, "Flesh and bones, the resurrection of the dead. It really can be realized." Suddenly, he thought of the life-continuing pill. That's right, even a person's lifespan could be extended. This was fighting with nature and the heavens for life. This was simply the way of immortals. So it turned out that the way of the apricot forest that he had been researching really had such a miraculous effect. In the past, his thoughts had been restricted too much. He looked at Tian Chanzi with a burning gaze. This person's knowledge was countless times greater than his, and he was afraid that there were many things that he had never heard of or even dared to think about. Although Tian Chanzi did not explain anything to him in detail, just these few short words were enough to enlighten him. Everything that he had researched for more than half of his life seemed to have become pale and powerless. He used to think that he was very powerful, but now he realized that he was actually a toddler. He bowed deeply to Tian Chanzi, and said from the bottom of his heart with a trembling voice, "Thank you for your guidance, Senior." The others were already stunned. This was not any less shocking than when Tian Chanzi defeated Yen Padian just now. This had broken their imaginations. Many people wished that they could invite Tian Chanzi home. With such a genius doctor around, they and their families would definitely live to 100 years old. After all, he was already very old, and sometimes, he felt that he was powerless, and was extremely reluctant to part with this world. If he could live for a few more years, then he would be willing to pay any price. Tian Chanzi ignored the king of medicine's respect and walked straight to Tang Jing, and asked kindly, "Are you satisfied?" "Not bad," Tang Jing said lightly. Tian Chanzi laughed involuntarily. "You brat, your requirements are really high." Little girl Yi, long time no see. Senior. Yi Dingdang bowed to Tian Chanzi. I'm very happy to see Senior again. Senior is still as elegant as ever. You know how to talk. I'll give you some pointers on the Jade Maiden Heart Sutra later. You've already reached the threshold of the post-celestial realm. Tian Chanzi said casually. Yi Dingdang cheered and said, thank you, Senior. Her Jade Maiden Heart Sutra had indeed reached the threshold, but she was still a bit away from crossing it. If she had Tian Chanzi's guidance, wouldn't she be able to step into the threshold of the post-celestial realm in a minute? Moreover, this set of Jade Maiden Heart Sutra was definitely obtained by Tang Jing from this senior. His understanding of the Jade Maiden Heart Sutra would definitely surpass hers by countless times. When the others heard this, they were so envious of Yi Dingdang. With such an expert guiding her, it was simply unimaginable. Many people looked at Tang Jing and thought to themselves, Yi Tianlei really raised a good daughter. If she could capture this brat Tang Jing, why not go home and tell his daughter to capture Tang Jing? Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang looked at each other, unable to hide their joy. Only the Song family members had gloomy expressions, especially Song Yu, who had already clenched her teeth, as if she wanted to grind them to pieces. Let's go, the matter here has already come to an end. Tian Chanzi said as he patted Tang Zhang's shoulder. Tang Jing nodded, but did not let go of Yi Dingdang's hand. This was because the pure yang energy in his body had not completely calmed down. Tian Chanzi chuckled. Of course he knew about Tang Zhang's situation, and thought to himself, brat, I told you to make a move on this girl a long time ago, and now you're finally enlightened. Now that Fang Shishir has gone abroad, if you don't take this girl down, let's see where you can find purine energy. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang immediately bid farewell to Yen Padian, and then hurriedly left the mountain with Tang Jing and the others. Yen Padian turned around and went to another wooden building, while the other guests also took their leave. This time, the birthday banquet ended on a bad note, and no one was in the mood to continue. What happened today was too shocking, and they had to tell the others about it as soon as possible. Tang Zheng was an ominous star that could not be provoked. The bodies of Chu Mingxian and Chu Shaohui, who had completely fainted, were properly settled down by the Yen family. Then, the Yen family gathered together. Yen Padian sat on the chair, and before he could even speak to his family, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. The others turned pale with fright. What's wrong? Yen Potion's expression was dispirited. He waved his hand and said, I won't die yet. That person just now was really too powerful, so powerful that it exceeded my imagination. I had been holding back my blood just now, otherwise, if I vomited blood in front of so many people, wouldn't I have lost a lot of face? The King of Medicine had an extremely good relationship with the Yen family, and was also in the room. He recovered from his shock and immediately checked Yen Potion's pulse, and said, Elder Yen, you are fine, I will prescribe you a few medicines to recuperate, and you will be fine. Yen Padian nodded his head in thanks. Thank you, King of Medicine. Although I was not seriously injured this time, if I were to continue fighting, I would definitely not be injured like this. Father, could it be that even with me, we are still not his match? Yen Qishan asked, unwilling to give up. In all these years, he had never seen his father admit defeat like this. Yen Luyun also looked at his grandfather with a burning gaze. His grandfather had always been his idol, and he was determined to become someone like his grandfather. He never thought that he would actually encounter a Waterloo in front of a mysterious expert today. Yen Padian squeezed out a smile, and said, even with you, it's impossible to win against this kind of expert with numbers. I am completely unable to guess how high his cultivation is. Father, he did not use his full strength in his battle with you today. His two sword techniques are obviously incomplete, which means that there are still a few more moves left. Yen Qingyi, who had been silent the entire time, spoke up. Ever since Tian Chanzi appeared, she had been observing him without saying a word. However, her words revealed her level. Although she did not know martial arts, she was too smart. Her intelligence was close to that of a demon, and she was able to see through the clues with a single glance. Even Yan Qishan was inferior to her in this aspect. Yan Qishan said in surprise, "Qingyi, does he really have a follow-up sword move?" Yan Qingyi firmly nodded her head, and Yan Padian also agreed. "Indeed, when I fought with him, I felt it the most. Just those two moves alone were enough to break my dragon form technique, and if I were to use the sword moves later on, I'm afraid that I would really die under his sword." You must know that even the sword god, who has been obsessed with the way of the sword for his entire life, is inferior to him in sword techniques. This person is so powerful that it's beyond common sense. It's as if he's not from this world. Yan Luyun sighed. Yan Padian laughed. "He is powerful, but it can't be said that he doesn't look like someone from this world. There are many experts in this world, Lu Yun. Don't look at how powerful our Yan family is in the secular world, but outside of this mortal world, there is a group of experts that are even more unreachable. They are the true experts of this world, but they have other goals and do not wander around this mortal world, so most people do not know of their existence." Yan Luyun heard this, and his eyes widened in surprise. This was the first time he had heard of this matter. "Qingyi, this time, you have to represent the Yan family and make a trip to the Li Palace." Suddenly, Yan Padian said with a serious expression. Chapter 305. Li Palace. Yan Qingyi was shocked. Is there a need to go to the Li Palace? Yan Qishan was also bewildered. The relationship between the Yan family and the Li Palace was not shallow, and the reason why the Yan family was able to grow up all these years was because of the Li Palace. However, the Yan family would not easily use this relationship. Yes, for such a powerful expert to appear in this world, the Li Palace will know about it soon. Moreover, the Li Palace is the most well-informed place in the world. I also want to know if the Li Palace knows about this person's origins. Yan Padian had his own plans. The others suddenly realized that the most important thing now was to find out about this person who they had never heard of before. Yan Padian glanced at the King of Medicine again, and said, "King of Medicine, for Yi Xuanji to be able to recover from his injuries and even break through to the Grand Master realm, I'm afraid it has something to do with this person, right?" The King of Medicine was slightly shocked. Yan Padian was really smart. His thoughts were also unconstrained, and he actually guessed this point. "Yes, but I promised them that I wouldn't spread the details, so I'm sorry, I can't go into detail," the King of Medicine said. The people of the Yan family sighed with emotion. Originally, the Ya family was about to collapse, but they didn't expect that because of this person's appearance, there would be such a huge change. The Ya family was truly fortunate. "Father, what about the Chu family?" Yan Qishan asked worriedly. This time, one of the Chu family members had died and the other was injured. It could be said that they had lost a lot of face. Although the Yan family was more powerful than the Chu family, they still had to think about how to explain it. Yan Padian muttered to himself for a moment, "Qishan, go back with the Yan family and explain to the Yan family that if they blame us, we can't do anything about it. Furthermore, you must warn them that Tangjing cannot be easily touched, otherwise, the capital will really become chaotic." Yan Qishan nodded. Dan Page knew that the task of convincing the Yan family would not be easy, but no matter what, she had to ensure this. "King of Medicine, I'll have to trouble you to make a trip to the Yan family this time. I'll leave Ming Xian's injuries to you," Yan Padian said. The King of Medicine nodded nonchalantly. While the Yan family was arranging the follow-up actions, the incident at the birthday banquet had already spread to the ears of many people in Beijing. Immediately, the name of Tang Zheng and the image of Tian Chanzi were deeply imprinted in the hearts of some people. But at that time, he was sitting in the Ya family's luxury car, leaving Longxiang Mountain and returning to the city. Senior, can I invite you to the Ye family for a chat? When you saved our family during the ordinary balance, we have yet to properly thank you. Yi Tianlei said in an incomparably solemn tone. Tian Chanzi chuckled. I don't want to go to the Ye family, otherwise that old man of yours will be nagging again, wishing that he could study me thoroughly. You big families are like this, very boring. Yi Tianlei was a little embarrassed, and said resentfully, then that's really a pity. I wonder where Senior is staying in the capital. I also want to pay you a visit. Tian Chanzi waved his hand and said, forget it, I don't like to be disturbed. During this period of time, I still have to catch up with my disciple. Yi Tianlei helplessly smiled bitterly. My good disciple, you see, for you, Master came to the capital from thousands of miles away, because I was afraid that you would be bullied by these so-called big families. Master cares about you enough. Tian Chanzi said as if he was boasting. Tang Zheng could not help but roll his eyes. You keep calling me disciple, wanting to take advantage of me. Now that there are other people, I cannot refute you. However, he was very surprised as to why he came to the capital. Wasn't he looking for traces of cultivators? Why did he come to the capital? Could it be that there were cultivators in the capital? Okay, stop the car, I will get off first. Remember to find me at this place at night, my good disciple. Tian Chanzi whispered the name of a place in Tang Zheng's ear, and then brought Huang Xiang out of the car. Little girl Yi, if you cultivate your Jade Women's Heart Sutra according to the method I just taught you, I guarantee that in these few days you will advance by leaps and bounds. Tian Chanzi turned his head and looked at Yi Dingdang. Yi Dingdang excitedly nodded her head, yes, thank you Senior for your guidance. Tian Chanzi waved his hand, and in the afterglow of the setting sun, his figure quickly disappeared. Yi Tianlei let out a long sigh. I really did not think that things would turn out like this. Tang Zheng said apologetically, I'm sorry, Uncle Yi and Feng, because of me, the Ye family was dragged into this. This time, who knows how the Chu family will retaliate. Feng Xinyang frowned and said, Hang, they dare. This time, the Chu family suffered a big setback. Moreover, the Yen family chose to acquiesce, so the Chu family will definitely not dare to cause trouble. Without the support of the Yen family, if the Chu family wants to jump around, they will only be asking to be humiliated. Yi Tianlei also nodded his head in agreement. This time, you did not do anything to the Ye family. Instead, you brought benefits to the Ye family. Right now, everyone knows that the Ye family has such a powerful son-in-law like you, so it can be said that the Ye family took advantage of you. Feng Xinyang beamed with joy. This is called our family having a good daughter like Dingdang. Other people do not have a good daughter like Dingdang. Yi Dingdang's face was full of shyness as she said, Mom, what are you saying? What I said is the truth. Don't dislike hearing it. Right now, Tang Zheng is very popular. You have to keep a close eye on him. Otherwise, who knows how many girls from other families will recommend themselves to sleep with him. Feng Xinyang earnestly warned. Tang Zheng was greatly embarrassed and coughed awkwardly. Fortunately, at this time, it was the Ye family's turn. Otherwise, it would be as if he was sitting on pins and needles. As soon as he returned to the Ye family, from afar, a small white shadow jumped onto Tang Zheng's body. Today, Xiaobai was not brought to the banquet. Otherwise, he might spit fire on the spot. That would be explosive. Yi Tianlei went to see Yi Xuanji and reported the matter of the birthday banquet. Yi Xuanji was shocked on the spot. He always knew that Tang Zheng had a powerful master, but he did not expect that he would appear in front of everyone today and even cause such a big storm. Father, this time we borrowed the east wind of Tang Zheng's influence. Naturally, our position in the hearts of others will rise by a level. However, it can be said that we have also formed a death grudge with the Chu family. Yi Tianlei said. Yi Xuanji snorted disdainfully and said, "So what if we have a death grudge?" When I had no hope of breaking through to the master level, the Chu family had always been eyeing our Ya family covetously. They couldn't wait to divide up our Ya family. This time, the Chu family suffered a big setback. It can be considered letting them off easy. Hearing this, Yi Tianlei breathed a sigh of relief. This means that the Ya family will unswervingly stand behind Tang Jing. If the Chu family really dared to act out of desperation, the Ya family will not sit idly by. As if reading his son's mind, Yi Xuanji comforted him. Don't worry, the Chu family will only swallow this anger. They will not rashly find trouble with Tang Jing. In the capital, as long as they are smart, they will not find trouble with Tang Jing. His master caused such a ruckus, other people will not bump into the muzzle of the gun and seek their own death. Yi Tianlei nodded in agreement. If possible, I really want to meet this mysterious master. Yi Xuanji said with longing. Yi Tianlei sighed helplessly. I invited him, but he did not agree. Fine, we will meet again if fate wills it. Tang Jing did not stay in the Ya family for long. After dinner, he took Xiao Bai and went straight to the meeting place with Tian Chanzi. In the night, a figure shuttled back and forth in the city without attracting anyone's attention. He was going to the center of the city, the Imperial City. This is a huge palace complex, left behind by the previous dynasty. During the day, there are many tourists, and it is a famous tourist attraction. Under the curtain of night, the Imperial City was like a resting ferocious beast, silently watching this ancient city. This historical imperial city is extremely incompatible with the surrounding high-rise buildings, but it was still preserved and became a historical site. Tang Jing jumped over the wall and lightly landed in the imperial city. In ancient times, this was the center of power, representing supreme power. Huang Xiang quietly stood in the darkness, blending into the night. Ordinary people would not be able to detect him, but Tang Jing saw him. Huang Xiang led the way in front, and a moment later, the two came to the depths of the palace complex. This is the center of the imperial city. A majestic palace quietly stood in front of them, and a majestic atmosphere spontaneously arose. Tian Chanzi was standing in the middle of the palace, looking at the throne that represents power, the dragon throne. Hearing Tang Zheng's footsteps, Tian Chanzi did not move his eyes away. Tang Zheng stood next to him, also staring at the dragon throne. For a long time he did not see anything. Boy, this is the throne that many people dream of. You don't want to sit on it and experience what it is like? Tian Chanzi asked. Tang Zheng curled his lips and said, experience my ass, now is not the ancient times, the dragon throne does not mean anything. Whoosh! As soon as his voice fell, Xiao Bai jumped out of Tang Zheng's arms and jumped on the dragon throne, jumping on it, very happy. Tian Chanzi's eyes shrank, and asked in surprise, what is this? My pet. Pet? Who are you kidding? This is a demon beast. Tian Chanzi's expression changed slightly. Demon beast? Of course, and this demon beast is very powerful, who knows how many times stronger than you. I am very curious, where did you get it, and how did it become your pet? I think you are more like its pet. Tang Jing rolled his eyes. I am a human, how can I be a pet? As for Xiao Bai's origin, I won't talk about it first. What do you think its origin is? There are so many demon beasts in this world. Do you really think that I don't know everything? How would I know its origin? However, I can see that it is still in its infancy. When it truly grows up, it will be very powerful. Hey, I haven't seen such a fascinating demon beast for many years. Brat, did you have some kind of fortuitous encounter? Tell me the truth. Tian Chanzi looked at him with interest. Tang Jing did not hide anything and told him about the witch clan. Chapter 306. Tang Zheng did not expect Tian Chanzi to be so surprised by the witch clan. This meant that the witch clan was far more extraordinary than he had imagined, and immediately asked, "Do you know why the witch clan is trapped in the 10,000 huge mountains?" 1,000 years ago, the 10,000 huge mountains was a dangerous place, and ordinary cultivators rarely set foot in it. As for the prehistoric heavenly tomb you mentioned, I have never heard of it, and I do not know if the witch clan is suitable to be trapped there. Tian Chanzi shook his head. Tang Zheng was disappointed. He originally thought that Tian Chanzi would be able to answer his questions. However, you brat actually had such a fortuitous encounter. You are truly envious of others. Looks like after I leave the capital this time, I will have to go to the prehistoric heavenly tomb. Tian Chanzi was moved. But you must be careful. It's very strange inside. Hee, of course I know. This time, I came to the capital to save your life. Are you very grateful to me? Tian Chanzi raised his eyebrows and asked with a wink. Please, I don't know you. You definitely didn't come to the capital specifically because of me. Tell me the truth, why did you come to the capital? Tang Zheng was not fooled. You're getting smarter and smarter. Of course. Furthermore, you keep calling me a good disciple. You must have had a good time this time. Tang Zheng immediately pierced through his heart. Tian Chanzi laughed complacently. Of course, it's not like you don't know, not being able to be your master is my greatest regret. Come on, tell me why you came to the capital this time. Also, didn't you go to find the whereabouts of the cultivators? What clues do you have? Tian Chanzi coughed and said, after a few months of hard work, although I did not see any other cultivators, I finally found a breakthrough. From this breakthrough, we can find out what exactly happened in the past 1,000 years, and why did the cultivators disappear. Oh, could it be that the breakthrough is in the capital? Tang Zheng was suddenly enlightened. Tian Chanzi nodded approvingly and pointed at his feet. The breakthrough is here. Tang Zheng looked down and saw nothing but the floor, so he asked, "Don't play games with me. What's so special about this place?" Hee, do you know what this imperial city was built for? The imperial city is naturally built to be the emperor's palace. Then why did you build a new one here when there was an imperial city in the south? Don't bully me because I didn't study history. The emperor is the guardian of the country. Everyone knows that, Tang Zheng said. Tian Chanzi laughed strangely. That's why I said you're a genius in cultivation, but you're still too inexperienced in some aspects. The emperor guarding the country's gate is just an excuse. The important thing is the thing under your feet. Stop trying to be mysterious. I'm standing on the floor. There's nothing else. Alright, then I'll answer your question. Let me tell you, I spent a lot of effort to get this information. There's a dragon beneath our feet. Dragon? Tang Zheng was shocked. Yes, a true dragon. It's the dragon in your legends. Even 1,000 years ago, dragons were extremely rare. Dragons are also a member of the demon race, but they're very noble and rare. They're an existence that other demon races can't compare to. Tian Chanzi said. Tang Zheng was flabbergasted. He stared at the floor in a daze. There's a dragon below. The legendary divine dragon. Ji. Xiao Bai jumped back and slanted its little mouth disapprovingly. It seemed to be protesting Tian Chanzi's words. Tian Chanzi seemed to understand and said, looking at its disapproving appearance, it doesn't seem to care much about dragons. I'm really curious about its origins. Hey, let's not talk about Xiao Bai first. You said there's really a dragon beneath our feet. Of course, I don't know what method the emperor used to capture this dragon, but he built this imperial city to imprison this dragon. He used this imperial city to form a huge array to imprison the dragon. That's not right. Didn't the emperors of ancient times call themselves the true dragon son of heaven? If they saw a dragon, wouldn't they worship it? How could they imprison it? Tang Zhang was confused. This information was too much. Haha, true dragon son of heaven. That's just nonsense to deceive children. However, the emperor imprisoned the dragon for a reason. That was to absorb the dragon qi. This way, he could prolong his life. That emperor sat on the dragon throne all day long and would continuously absorb the dragon qi. This is more effective than any other elixir, Tian Chanzi said. Moreover, as the emperor of a country, his power is the greatest. There's nothing or anyone that can stop him. Don't you think that imprisoning a dragon would give him a sense of accomplishment? This is simply an emperor throughout the ages. Other emperors simply can't do it. Tang Zheng was really speechless. After a long time, he said, even if we have a dragon beneath our feet, what does that have to do with looking for cultivators? This dragon has been here for hundreds of years. I believe that it can answer why cultivators have disappeared. Tian Chanzi said solemnly. Then let's hurry up and find it. Do you want us to pry open the floor? Tang Zheng asked. Tian Chanzi curled his lips and said with disdain, if prying open the floor was useful, others would have already discovered this dragon. I really don't have anything in common with you. Tang Zheng was despised. He scratched his head in embarrassment. This imperial city is a huge array. Of course, we have to find the key point of this array. Only then can we see the dragon. Then hurry up and find it. Don't waste time. Otherwise, when the sun rises and the tourists come, you won't have a chance. Get out of the way, brat. Don't get in the way. Heaven monk started to wander around the palace, and a mysterious power gradually spread out. Little White cried out in surprise, and opened its round eyes wide. Open! Suddenly, Tian Chanzi shouted. A beam of light soared into the sky and wrapped around them. Tang Zheng was in a trance. The scene in front of his eyes suddenly changed. Hey, where are we? Tang Zheng looked at everything in front of him curiously. This was a tunnel with stone walls on both sides. We have arrived at the underground of the palace. Tian Chanzi explained from the side. This was a transfer array. It brought them from the palace to the underground. Is the dragon here? Of course. Follow me. Let me tell you, the dragon is not like other monsters. Your ability is not enough. Be careful not to be eaten by it. Hee hee, with you here, how can I be eaten? Zhi zhi. Xiao Bai cried out and waved its claws. It seemed to say, don't be afraid, I will protect you. Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This tunnel was very long. Gradually, an invisible pressure appeared spontaneously. It was so oppressive that it made it difficult for them to breathe. Tang Zheng hurriedly circulated his energy to dissolve this pressure. If an ordinary person was here, they would have been pressed to the ground by this pressure, unable to move. What's going on? Tang Zheng asked curiously. Dragon aura. The emperor will have this kind of majesty when he absorbs the dragon aura. Tian Chanzi explained, the stronger the dragon aura, the more the subjects will naturally submit. Finally, they reached the end of the tunnel. The scene suddenly opened up. This was a domed hall. The dome was inlaid with fist-sized luminous pearls, so the hall was as bright as day. However, the luminous pearls were not enough to attract Tang Zheng. At this moment, he was dumbfounded as he looked at the huge monster in the center of the hall, a dragon. This really was a dragon. Its whole body was covered in golden scales. It was not much different from the legendary dragon. It was lying on the ground, and its huge body occupied more than half of the hall. It closed its eyes as if it was sleeping. When Tang Zheng and the others finally walked into the hall, its eyes suddenly opened, revealing eyes that were as big as basketballs. Golden light flickered, and an indescribable dragon might covered the sky and covered the earth. Tang Jing subconsciously retreated half a step before stabilizing his body. This was the power of a dragon. Tang Jing felt as if he had been hit by a heavy blow with just a glance. Tang Jing took a deep breath to suppress the shock in his heart. Tian Chanzi also couldn't hide his shock. He muttered to himself, "I finally see a dragon. Ha, it's a 5-clawed golden dragon." Tian Chanzi was not afraid. Instead, he was very excited because the answer was about to be revealed. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, and the dragon gradually stood upright, looking down at them with an unparalleled might. "Don't worry, there is a formation to suppress it. It can't threaten us," Tian Chanzi said quickly. Sure enough, there was a crisp sound of ding-dang. The dragon's 5 claws were covered with dark chains. When it raised its body, ding-dang sounds could be heard. Squeak! Xiao Bai suddenly jumped out of Tang Zhang's arms. "Xiao Bai, don't go." Tang Zhang was shocked. He hurriedly wanted to hold Xiao Bai, but was stopped by Tian Chanzi. "Aren't you afraid of death? If you go near it, you will die. Although it is suppressed by the formation now, it is more than enough to deal with you. But what about Xiao Bai? I can't let anything happen to it." "Xiao Bai, come back quickly." Tang Jing couldn't break free from Tian Chanzi's hands, so he anxiously tried to persuade him. Xiao Bai didn't seem to hear him at all. With a whoosh, it rushed to the front of the golden dragon. In front of this behemoth, it was like an insignificant, almost negligible little thing. Little White stood in front of the golden dragon and raised its head high. It stared at the golden dragon without blinking. It pouted its mouth as if it was about to spit fire, and its mouth made a squeaking sound. Spitting fire at the golden dragon, did it want to roast it and eat it? Tang Jing didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This little troublemaker. "Tian Chanzi, don't pull me, I'm going to save it." Xiao Bai had saved Tang Jing several times. Tang Jing couldn't just watch it become a meal on the golden dragon's plate. This guy had been locked up for hundreds of years. He was afraid that it was going crazy from hunger. Xiao Bai was not enough to fill the gaps between its teeth. Tang Jing used his power and broke free from Tian Chanzi. He jumped and threw himself at Xiao Bai, shouting, "Xiao Bai, come back quickly." Little White, however, turned a deaf ear to it and continued to stare at the golden dragon. The golden dragon also stared at the little fellow. Their eyes met. Suddenly, the golden dragon moved, a strong gale blew, the golden dragon bent its body, and Tang Zheng was blown to the point of tilting left and right by the gale. Whoosh! Chapter 307. Seeing this, Tang Jing shouted, "No!" However, he was unable to stand steadily because of the strong wind. He had no choice but to help Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai did not retreat at all. Instead, he stood up straight and stared straight at the golden dragon. Roar! With the dragon's roar, Xiao Bai's hair danced in the wind. However, Xiao Bai still did not retreat. He also made a squeaking sound, as if he was responding to the golden dragon. The dragon's head finally stopped in front of Xiao Bai. The dragon's whiskers were almost touching Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai stretched out his claws and stroked the dragon's whiskers. Seeing this, Tang Zheng's heart trembled. This little guy is too bold. However, why didn't the golden dragon eat Xiao Bai in one bite? "What are you?" Suddenly, the golden dragon spoke. "Ah! It can speak." Tang Zheng was shocked, but he immediately remembered that the golden dragon was a very powerful demon. It was not strange that it could speak. Squeak squeak. Xiao Bai made a sound as if he was answering the golden dragon's question. However, the golden dragon's eyes were filled with doubt. You can't speak. Obviously, the golden dragon did not understand Xiao Bai's answer. Seeing this, Tang Zheng's heart almost jumped out of his throat. However, he quietly calmed down. Who are you? The golden dragon turned to Tang Zheng and asked. Whoosh! The strong wind disappeared. Tang Zheng landed steadily on the ground. It was a close call but not dangerous. We have a question for you. Tian Chanzi walked up and asked in a deep voice. Oh, a question. Ha, interesting. I see humans again after hundreds of years, but they are here to ask me questions. The golden dragon laughed, but there was a hint of vicissitudes in its voice. Human, I was imprisoned by you back then. Do you think I will still answer your questions? The golden dragon's voice paused. There was a hint of anger in it as it asked. You have been locked up here for hundreds of years, and no one has come to see you. Today, we are here to see you. Don't you think you should thank us? Tian Chanzi said. Ha, thank you. I can't wait to eat you all, the golden dragon said in disgust. Creak creak. Xiao Bai jumped up and down, as if saying that it was not allowed to eat people. The golden dragon looked at Xiao Bai suspiciously and asked, What exactly is this little thing? Tang Jing asked in surprise, Don't you know where it came from? After all, the golden dragon was from the Yao clan. Even he did not know about Xiao Bai's origins. Just how mysterious was this little guy's origin? The golden dragon said in surprise, You don't know yourself. We still want to consult you. The golden dragon stared at Tang Jing with its large eyes, confirming that he was not lying, and said, Strange, this little guy is clearly from the Yao clan, but I can't see through its origins. However, the aura on its body is very special. It actually has the aura of the Great Desolate Era, and is not afraid of my dragon's might. The aura of the Great Desolate Era. Tang Zheng's head moved, and he quickly asked, Do you know about the prehistoric heavenly tomb? Prehistoric heavenly tomb. You found the prehistoric heavenly tomb. The golden dragon shook its body, and the black chains ding-dang rang out, Where is the prehistoric heavenly tomb? Hearing that the other party knew about the prehistoric heavenly tomb, both Tang Zheng and Tian Chanzi were shocked. Even Tian Chanzi did not know the origins of the prehistoric heavenly tomb. He never thought that this golden dragon would actually know. Tell me what the prehistoric heavenly tomb is first. Tang Zheng stabilized his mind and asked without batting an eyelid. You actually dare to bargain with the noble dragon race? The golden dragon flew into a rage, as if it was about to flip out. This is called an exchange of information. It's very fair. If you don't want to say it, then forget it. Tang Zheng said coldly. Tian Chanzi also admired Tang Zheng's attitude. This golden dragon seemed to be a little difficult to deal with. You've been locked up here for hundreds of years, but you still haven't changed your temper. Tell us, what kind of place is the prehistoric heavenly tomb? Tian Chanzi's expression was also somewhat stern. The golden dragon did not appreciate it at all, and said arrogantly, You want to get information from me, dream on. I won't tell you, despicable humans. Tang Zheng and Tian Chanzi looked at each other, feeling a little helpless. Originally, they wanted to ask about the disappearance of the cultivators, but it seemed like there was no hope. This golden dragon's mouth was really hard. Tang Zheng had an idea. His eyes lit up, and said loudly, You made yourself sound so high and mighty, but you were still imprisoned here for a few hundred years. Don't flatter yourself. You dare to insult me? I'm going to eat you. The golden dragon flew into a rage, and was about to flip out again, but Xiao Bai suddenly jumped onto Tang Zheng's shoulder, and stared at it like a tiger eyeing its prey. The golden dragon paused and looked at Xiao Bai fearfully. Tang Zheng and Tian Chanzi heaved a sigh of relief. Obviously, this golden dragon was extremely afraid of Xiao Bai, so their safety was guaranteed. Tian Chanzi sighed in annoyance. Seeing that he was about to get close to the truth, he did not expect this stupid dragon to not cooperate. Seeing that the two of them were at their wits' end, the golden dragon raised its head high, feeling very pleased with itself. Let's go. No one will know about it for another few hundred years until it dies of old age here. Tang Jing rolled his eyes, a plan came to his mind, and he turned to leave. Kid, Tian Chanzi wanted to dissuade him, but when he saw Tang Jing giving him a meaningful glance, he understood and said, "Yes, let this stupid dragon die here." The two of them turned around and left, completely ignoring the golden dragon's astonishment. It opened its eyes wide in disbelief and roared, "How can you leave just like that? You're not allowed to leave." But how could it stop someone else? Seeing that the other party was about to enter the tunnel, the golden dragon compromised and immediately shouted, "Don't go, I'll tell you." Tang Zhang and Tian Chanzi looked at each other. This was indeed a stupid dragon, a little bit of provocation was enough to pry open its mouth. Seeing the two of them stop in their tracks, the golden dragon hurriedly said, "Prehistoric heavenly tomb is a tomb after the Great War in the ancient era. There are countless legendary great figures buried inside, but this tomb is extremely mystical. It is said that there are many divine arts and secret manuals buried in this prehistoric heavenly tomb, as well as divine weapons. These were all the belongings of the great figures back then, and were buried here with them. Outsiders did not know where the prehistoric heavenly tomb was, and after that, countless people went to search for it, but many of them returned empty-handed. However, there were also people who successfully returned from the prehistoric heavenly tomb, and all of them became great figures who ruled over a region. However, these people who returned were also secretive about where the prehistoric heavenly tomb was." Tang Zhang and Tian Chanzi both revealed expressions of joy at the same time. In that case, the prehistoric heavenly tomb was a huge treasure trove. Tang Jing never thought that he would accidentally discover a treasure trove that no one else would be able to discover. But speaking of which, the prehistoric heavenly tomb was not that hard to find, even Li Xiaotian and that group of Japanese were able to find it. Could it be that there was something fishy about it? "I've told you everything I know," the golden dragon said resentfully. Humans were cunning, they actually forced him to obediently submit. "Then do you know why the cultivators of this world disappeared?" Tian Chanzi asked again. The golden dragon's eyes lit up, and laughed. "Actually, you guys wanted to ask this question from the beginning. It seemed like it wasn't that stupid. Yes, you've been locked up here for hundreds of years, you must know, right?" Tian Chanzi said excitedly. The golden dragon raised its head and said arrogantly, "Of course I know. I've been curious since you came in. Isn't there no cultivator in this world anymore? Where did you two come from? Hurry up and speak, stop dawdling. If you want to know the answer, you have to agree to one of my conditions," the golden dragon said resolutely. The two of them did not expect the golden dragon to actually raise a condition. Tian Chanzi asked in a deep voice, "What condition?" "Let me out, I don't want to continue being locked up here," the golden dragon said angrily. "The formation that imprisoned you is very powerful. I have no way to completely break the formation," Tian Chanzi said. "You must have a way. This formation is called the inescapable snare tactical method. With this imperial city as the foundation, as long as you destroy the entire imperial city, I can regain my freedom," the golden dragon said crazily. "Destroy the entire imperial city?" Tang Zhang was flabbergasted. Was there a mistake? This was the center of the country. Destroying the entire imperial city was simply a matter that would shock the world. Not to mention that Tang Jing did not have the ability to do so now. Even if he did, he would definitely be treated as the public enemy of this country. He did not want to walk down this path. How is it? It's simple, right? With your cultivation, it won't be too difficult to destroy this imperial city. The golden dragon said excitedly. Heaven Monk was a little moved. He was originally a person from the cultivation world, and was incompatible with this world. It was just destroying an imperial city, so what was the big deal? Tang Jing guessed his thoughts and quickly advised, Tian Chanzi, don't listen to its instigation. If we do this, then there will be no place for you and me in this world. Tian Chanzi said disapprovingly, as long as we know the secret of the disappearance of the cultivators, this is nothing. Tang Jing argued, no matter what you say, I will not agree. Seeing Tang Jing so determined, Tian Chanzi curled his lips and said, you are now a cultivator. What are you afraid of? It is true that I am a cultivator, but the people around me, my family and friends are not cultivators. If I really do this, then even if the entire country investigates this matter, I am afraid that I will not be able to stay out of it. At that time, I will implicate these people. Tang Zheng said with a resolute expression. If you don't agree, then don't think about knowing this secret. Humph, I see that you are locked up underground. You may not know this secret. Tang Zheng said in disbelief. The golden dragon anxiously refuted, nonsense, how could I not know? Every once in a while, my primordial spirit will leave my body and go to the outside world to take a look. Although I can't do anything, I know what is happening in the outside world. Tang Zheng's heart moved. So there was such a thing. Seeing Tian Chanzi gently nod, Tang Zheng knew that this dragon was not lying. He was afraid that he really knew the secret of the disappearance of the cultivators. Looking at the two people's faces, the golden dragon proudly said, now you know how powerful I am. If you want to know the secret, you must destroy the imperial city and let me out. Otherwise, don't think about getting this secret from me. Chapter 308. Tang Zheng and Tian Chanzi stared at each other. This dragon was not so easy to fool. Its attitude towards this matter was so firm that there was no room for negotiation. What should they do? Could it be that they should give up halfway? Boy, it's just an imperial city. It's not a big deal. Besides, it has no practical use now. Tian Chanzi advised. Tang Zheng waved his hand. Don't say any more. No. You're still so stubborn. I really don't know what to do with you. Tian Chanzi helplessly rolled his eyes. Tang Zheng stared straight at the golden dragon and said, I've already told you clearly that it's impossible to destroy the imperial city. Do you have any other way to break the inescapable snare formation? Other ways? Humph, unless your cultivation level reaches the Huashan stage, there's no way to quietly break the inescapable snare formation. The golden dragon solemnly vowed. It was a little surprised by this human's persistence and determination. Huashan stage. Tang Zheng and Tian Chanzi were quite surprised that such a high cultivation level was required. Tian Chanzi whispered, boy, then it's impossible for us to break the formation in a short time. Tang Zheng certainly knew that Tian Chanzi was also in the gold core stage. There was still a yuanying stage between the Huashan stage and the Huashan stage, so 3 plus or minus 3 couldn't meet the requirements at all. But we have to know this secret today. This matter is of great importance. Tang Zheng nodded to show that he understood. I can promise you one thing. If you tell us this secret, I'll definitely get you out. If you don't tell us, then you'll be locked up here until you die. Humph, if you don't get me out, I won't tell you. I said I'll get you out, so I'll definitely save you. At most, you'll be locked up for a few more years, or more than 10 years. Otherwise, you'll die of old age here. Don't you know how to settle this account? Tang Zheng angrily asked. A few years, more than 10 years. You think too highly of yourself. You're only at the 4th grade of the foundation establishment stage. You're dreaming if you think you can reach the soul formation stage so quickly, the golden dragon said disdainfully. Even if I can't achieve it, can't he? Humph, don't think I don't know that the spiritual chi of heaven and earth outside is so thin that it can't be compared to the past at all. Even if he wants to reach the divine transformation realm in 10 years, you can ask him yourself if it's possible. Tang Zhang looked at Tian Chanzi in surprise. Aren't you already at the gold core stage? Wasn't she only one yuanying stage away from the soul formation stage? Why can't it be done? Heaven Monk laughed bitterly. Brat, don't use your own abnormal cultivation method on others. The further you go, the harder it is to cultivate. It is possible that you will not be able to break through even after spending more than 10 years. Tang Zhang was speechless. It turned out that he had been too optimistic. How is it? Now you know I'm telling the truth, right? It's not that I'm looking down on you, but if you want to reach the divine transformation stage in such a short period of time, unless a miracle happens. The golden dragon said complacently. Tang Zhang clenched his teeth as his thoughts raced. In the end, he suddenly raised his head and looked at the golden dragon with determination. I believe that I can do it. At most, in 20 years, I will definitely reach the divine transformation stage and save you. Tang Zhang was not being arrogant, but he was confident that his 9 yang holy body's cultivation speed was several times faster than others. Moreover, wasn't there still the prehistoric heavenly tomb? At most, he could just go inside and look for the secret manuals left behind by the great figures of the ancient era. The golden dragon clearly did not believe Tang Zhang's words and said, "Despicable human, you want to lie to me again? I won't fall for it." Tian Chanzi's heart stirred as he said, he has the 9 yang holy body and is a cultivation genius that only appears once in 1,000 years. I can't do it, but maybe he can. 9 yang holy body. The golden dragon curiously looked at Tang Zhang. Even the 9 yang holy body is useless. It's also impossible. In this world, the only ones who can do this are the legendary celestials. Celestials. This was the first time Tang Zhang and Tian Chanzi had heard of this term. What is a celestial? A celestial is a cultivation genius that appears once in 10,000 years. Furthermore, a celestial carries a huge secret that is much more powerful than your 9 yang holy body. This is the first time I've heard of this term. It's really strange. Tian Chanzi muttered to himself. Of course you don't know. This is the secret of the dragon race. How could a normal person know? The golden dragon arrogantly said. If a celestial can do it, why can't I? Tang Zhang was unconvinced. Human, it's not that I'm looking down on you, but you really are impossible. Tang Zhang had a stomach full of anger. Were celestials this powerful? Creak creak. Suddenly, Xiao Bai cried out. He jumped off Tang Zhang's shoulder and pulled on Tang Zhang's pant leg, doing his utmost to pull him toward the golden dragon. Hey, Xiao Bai, what are you doing? Xiao Bai was very strong. Tang Zhang was dragged toward the golden dragon. Creak creak. Xiao Bai cried out, but he didn't stop. Instead, he put in even more effort. In the blink of an eye, he had pulled Tang Zhang under the golden dragon's huge body. Tang Zhang raised his head, and could feel the dragon might of this colossus even more directly. He actually had the urge to bow down and worship it. With Xiao Bai's protection, Tang Zhang was confident that the golden dragon wouldn't dare to harm him. However, he was very curious as to what Xiao Bai wanted to do. Xiao Bai shouted and pointed at Tang Zhang. The golden dragon was puzzled, but it understood Xiao Bai's meaning. Its dragon claw slowly reached for Tang Zhang's shoulder. Tian Chanzi turned pale with fright. He cried out in alarm, "Brat, be careful." Xiao Bai wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he used his eyes to encourage Tang Zhang. Tang Zhang's head twitched. Xiao Bai wouldn't harm him. He definitely had his reasons for doing this. Tian Chanzi, don't worry. I'll be fine. Tang Zhang took a deep breath and suppressed the urge to run away. He could only watch as the dragon claw landed on his shoulder. Whitey, on the other hand, opened its eyes wide in excitement. It jumped up and down and squeaked, looking very pleased with itself. Tian Chanzi's heart was about to jump out of his chest. Although he had lived for many years, this was the first time he had seen such a scene. He couldn't help but feel excited. Even thousands of years ago, dragons were very rare and aloof. Ordinary practitioners had no way to see a real dragon. In fact, this was also the first time Tian Chanzi had seen a real dragon. He was really shocked by the scene in front of him. Vaguely, there seemed to be some kind of indescribable expectation in his heart. He stared at Tang Zhang intently. Tang Zhang was also extremely nervous. To let the legendary dragon get so close to him, and even have physical contact with him, if it was anyone else, they would probably have the same thoughts as him. In the face of such a powerful dragon, he didn't sit down on the ground and show a timid expression. He took a deep breath and tried to appear calm. The golden dragon's eyes were originally filled with doubt. It didn't understand the deep meaning of Xiao Bai's action. But when its claw landed on Tang Zhang's shoulder, its pupils quickly dilated. Its golden eyes bloomed with dazzling golden light. The entire hall turned into a golden ocean. Tang Zhang's face turned pale with fright. What was going on? Fortunately, his body didn't have any strange feeling. Otherwise, he would have definitely fought back. The doubt in the golden dragon's eyes was completely replaced by shock. It looked at Tang Zhang and cried out in fright. How is this possible? You are actually a celestial. What, I'm a Skywalker? Tang Zhang was also shocked, and even the heaven monk exclaimed, cursing loudly, F***ck. The golden dragon had already retracted its claw. It looked at Tang Zhang in disbelief. You actually have 9 main meridians and a pure yang body. You are a celestial. Tang Zhang suddenly realized that these 2 points were the characteristics of a celestial. He couldn't help but remember Tian Chanzi once said that he wasn't a human. It seems he was a celestial. A celestial was also a human. He finally didn't have to worry about whether he was a human or not. He felt very gratified. But this celestial was so powerful from the golden dragon's mouth. He was very excited because this meant that he could reach spirit severing stage in a short 10 years. Since you know I'm a celestial, then you can believe my words, right? Tang Zhang continued to press on. The golden dragon was still in shock. It muttered to itself, no wonder this mysterious little fellow was subdued by you. So it also knows that you are a celestial. Hearing this, Xiao Bai excitedly jumped up and down. In the end, it directly jumped onto Tang Zhang's shoulder. Tang Zhang patted its little head and said, so you already knew that I am a celestial. Xiao Bai pretended to be serious and nodded its head. But unlike the golden dragon, Xiao Bai couldn't speak. So even if it knew this secret, it couldn't tell Tang Zhang. The golden dragon's eyes gradually regained its luster. It stared straight at Tang Zhang and said, I actually saw a celestial that only appears once every 10,000 years. Moreover, it is in this world where there are no practitioners at all. This is too miraculous. Although I have been imprisoned here for hundreds of years, but to be able to see a celestial, these hundreds of years were worth it. Tang Zhang blushed with shame. He didn't expect that he would have such great charm. It was like he was a celebrity, and this golden dragon was like a fan of his. But since he met a fan, then things would be much easier. So he coughed and said, since that is the case, then you can tell me the secret of the disappearance of practitioners. Of course, but I hope that you can come and see me when you are free. I have been imprisoned here for hundreds of years without anyone to talk to me. I am about to go crazy. The golden dragon said expectantly. Tang Zheng hesitated for a moment. In any case, he was going to stay in the capital for 4 years. If he was free, it would be good to come and see him. Moreover, this place was definitely a good place to train. With a golden dragon by his side, no one would be able to hurt him when he was training. Just thinking about this made him very excited. So he nodded his head without hesitation. The golden dragon also seemed to be very happy. It said, wait a little longer, I can finally see the light of day again. Humph, those people who imprisoned me are already dead. Otherwise, I would have eaten all of them. Tang Zheng was speechless. This guy opened its mouth and said that it wanted to eat people. It really was a foodie. It seemed like he would have to teach it a lesson in the future to change this bad habit. Tian Chanzi didn't expect that things would take such a turn. He said excitedly, "Boy, quickly ask it to speak." Chapter 309. The golden dragon did not hide anything anymore and talked about the calamity of the divine continent more than 200 years ago. The foreign races invaded the Central Earth and were all vying for supremacy. At that time, the spirit chi of heaven and earth was exhausted, and the level of cultivators was not much worse than before. However, a genius called New Era appeared among the foreign races, and New Era's cultivation was shocking, reaching the 9th grade of martial emperor. There were many capable people in the Central Earth, but whether it was martial artists or cultivators, none of them could surpass New Era. As a result, New Era led the foreign races to attack the city, and many people from the Central Earth died. Of course, this also included cultivators and warriors. This foreign race was very powerful. There were no cultivators among them, and they were all warriors. However, all of them were powerful and did not lose to cultivators. After countless battles, the dynasties of the Central Earth were forced to retreat. Everyone knew that if New Era did not die, the imperial dynasty of the Central Earth would definitely be overthrown. In the Central Earth, cultivators had a higher status than warriors, and many warriors were secretly dissatisfied with cultivators. At this time, some warriors were even in cahoots with the foreign races, cooperating with each other from the inside. The Central Earth imperial dynasty was even more so, retreating step by step, and was in danger. In the end, the emperor gathered all the heroes of the world to discuss a grand plan, while New Era actually single-handedly rushed to the capital from 1,000 miles outside the pass. Just like that, he swaggered into the imperial city. Countless experts surrounded New Era, but hesitated. New Era had already conspired with some warriors, killing until the sky turned dark and the ground turned black, blood flowing like rivers. The imperial city was practically a sea of corpses, wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. But in the end, New Era still managed to hold on. He faced off against the heroes of the world, but he did not completely fall into a disadvantageous position. At this moment, New Era vowed that there were already 1 million soldiers outside the pass, and that they would attack the pass in half a day. At that time, the army would head south, and the Central Earth imperial dynasty would definitely be destroyed. The emperor was naturally terrified, but no one was a match for New Era, causing him to be helpless. But at this time, New Era made a suggestion. As long as the emperor expelled the cultivators, his subordinates' iron hooves would stop moving south, and this war would end. Although the Middle-earth Empire had lasted for hundreds of years, the emperor was already incomparably muddle-headed. After hearing this, in order to protect the throne, he actually agreed immediately and secretly discussed with New Era how to expel the cultivators. In the end, New Era obtained a method from somewhere and secretly used it with the emperor. Immediately, the sky changed color and many vortexes appeared in the sky. One by one, the cultivators were sucked into the sky by the vortexes. No cultivator was spared. However, the other ordinary people and martial artists were unscathed. This terrifying scene lasted for 3 days and 3 nights before disappearing, and there was not a single cultivator left in the world. According to New Era's introduction, these cultivators did not die, but went to some sky beyond heaven, and from then on, they would never be able to come to this world. This world was the world of martial artists. New Era returned with a loud laugh, but he did not keep his promise. As soon as he returned to the pass, he led 1,000,000 mighty soldiers to break through the pass and lead them south. Although he was a martial emperor, he was still extremely fearful of all the cultivators in the world. This was because only cultivators could resist him, and the cultivators of the Middle Earth were too weak in comparison. Without any resistance, New Era seemed to have the help of a god as he charged to the capital like lightning. The resistance of the martial artists in the world was like a small wave that was completely drowned out by this shocking wave. The emperor was disheartened and ashamed to face the common people and cultivators of the world. Thus, he hanged himself on Coal Mountain to thank the world. After the foreign race invaded the Middle Earth, they unscrupulously carried out the enslavement policy. They even tampered with history and completely erased everything about cultivators. As a result, hundreds of years later, ordinary people simply did not know that there was such a group of people in the divine continent. Tang Zheng's heart was surging with emotions when he heard this. The magnificent history scroll seemed to be slowly unfolding in front of him, and the schemes and machinations within it made him shudder. So this was how the cultivators disappeared, brought to some sky beyond heaven by an outsider's tricks. He was no stranger to this sky beyond heaven. Back then, didn't the demon clan summon the demon god from the sky beyond heaven? The demon clan would definitely be unwilling and want to come back for revenge. Most of the cultivators would probably be unwilling and want to come back for revenge. After all, being expelled in such a way was a great humiliation. Shameless! Tian Chanzi's face flushed red as he roared angrily. Tang Zheng was shocked, and immediately asked, Tian Chanzi, what are you doing? This New Era is too shameless to actually use such a despicable method. Tian Chanzi said. The golden dragon snorted in disdain, and said, humans are shameless to begin with. Tang Jing glared at it, and the golden dragon unwillingly shut its mouth, as if it was a little afraid of Tang Jing, the Skywalker. That's not right. It's not like there weren't any large success realm cultivators 1,000 years ago. Why was New Era able to go straight in and no one could stop him? Tian Chanzi raised his eyebrows as he discovered something strange. The golden dragon looked at him in surprise and said, you actually know about things that happened 1,000 years ago. Who exactly are you? He was a cultivator from 1,000 years ago. It was only by chance that he was reborn. Tang Jing explained. The golden dragon nodded in realization, you're really lucky to have escaped that calamity. Otherwise, you would have definitely gone to the sky beyond heaven as well. As for your question, the reason is very simple. 500 years ago, a great battle broke out between the righteous path and the demon clan in the cultivation world. The experts on both sides were all killed and injured. So for more than 200 years, the cultivators did not recover their vitality at all, which gave New Era the opportunity to take advantage of them. A great battle between the righteous path and the demon clan. Tian Chanzi turned pale with fright, and muttered to himself, did this battle still start in the end? There was usually friction between the righteous path and the demon clan, but who would have thought that in the end, there would still be a great battle? Tian Chanzi clenched his teeth, filled with regret. If there wasn't that great battle, the cultivators would have been able to continue to stay in this world. What's so good about staying here? The spirit energy is getting thinner and thinner, and the cultivation speed is getting slower and slower. The golden dragon said disdainfully. Tian Chanzi coldly snorted, and said, what do you know? The Middle Earth is a place for cultivators. How can it be occupied by outsiders? Now that the outsiders have been driven away, aren't the people of the Middle Earth sitting on their own land? The golden dragon asked. Tang Zhang and Tian Chanzi were both speechless. That's right, although the outsiders had occupied the Middle Earth for more than 200 years, they were still driven away in the end. What about that new era? The life of a martial artist is limited, so of course he died. Moreover, he had been fighting with so many cultivators, so he had already suffered internal injuries, but he had been holding on, which was why he came up with this trick. Otherwise, if the cultivators were not eliminated, he would not have been able to hold on for long, let alone lead his troops into the pass and occupy the Middle Earth. Dead, that's too easy for him. If he didn't die, I would definitely tear him into pieces. Tian Chanzi gritted his teeth and said hatefully. Since you said that cultivators were all sucked into the sky beyond, then why are there still demonic beasts in this world? Furthermore, you weren't sucked into the sky beyond either, were you? Of course the demonic beasts were also sucked into the sky beyond, but this demonic beasts must have evolved from the nourishment of the spirit chi of heaven and earth. As for me, I am from the dragon race. How can other demonic beasts compare to me? My dragon race doesn't live in this Middle Earth, so how could New Era's scheme suck the dragon race into the sky beyond? Furthermore, I have this inescapable snare formation above my head. Even if I am sucked away like that whirlpool, I can't do anything about it. The golden dragon explained. Tang Zhang was deep in thought. The witch clan and the 10,000 huge mountains and the demonic beasts in the prehistoric heavenly tomb were definitely protected by the restrictions in the 10,000 huge mountains, which was why they were able to escape this calamity. Brat, we must let the cultivators return to this world. Tian Chanzi suddenly raised his head and stared at Tang Zhang with a burning gaze. Tang Zhang's head moved. Didn't this mean that Tian Chanzi's goal was the same as the demon clans? Didn't the demon clan also vow to return to this world? Tang Zhang did not have the time to tell him about the demon clan, so he quickly told him about what happened during the military training. Tian Chanzi was slightly startled, and said, the demon clan is truly cunning, they actually left behind a backup plan. Then, according to what you mean, a demon god has already descended. Tang Zhang nodded his head. This demon god was killed by me using the heaven shocking bow, his soul escaped, he must still be in this world. Tian Chanzi's gaze became complicated, and said thoughtfully, then I really want to meet him, since he came back from the sky beyond, he must be clear about the situation there, and what happened to the cultivators who were sucked in, I must also find out. But his whereabouts must be very hidden, it's not easy to find. Even if it's not easy to find, I still have to find him. Even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground, I still have to find him. Tian Chanzi clenched his teeth and said fiercely. The golden dragon said in surprise, it's only been 200 years, and the cultivators of the sky beyond heaven are about to return. I'm afraid New Era didn't think of this back then either. This time, the cultivators returned with hatred, which was equivalent to the wrath of the heavens, then the people of this world would have to suffer. I'm afraid it would be another sea of corpses. Humans are so stupid, killing each other, one day they will be extinct. Tang Zhang felt a chill run down his spine. What the golden dragon said was probably not a delusion. Back then, when the cultivators were tricked like this, they must have harbored hatred in their hearts. This time, no matter if it was the righteous path or the demon clan, they would not let this matter rest. The warriors of this world would not be able to live peacefully. After all, New Era was a warrior, and the cultivators might even vent their anger on the current warriors. Furthermore, the martial sect was still sparing no effort to chase after the cultivators, which made him even more of a thorn in the eyes of the cultivators. If the cultivators returned and wantonly hunted the warriors, and according to the current situation, the development of the warriors in the past few hundred years was not very good. How could they resist the revenge of the cultivators? Wouldn't the world be in chaos? Chapter 310. Tang Zhang's face had already darkened. He was worried about the upcoming bloody storm, and asked, Tian Chanzi, after you find the demon god, could it be that you want to join hands with him to let the cultivators return? Tian Chanzi paused for a moment, his eyes burning as he looked at Tang Jing. He had already understood his thoughts, and said, "Brat, do you not want the cultivators to return?" Tang Jing hesitated for a moment, then shook his head. "I don't know either, but I don't want the people of this world to suffer a calamity." "Are you worried about the warriors by your side?" Tang Jing nodded his head truthfully. "Yes, I have too many warriors by my side." If the cultivators returned, then wouldn't the warriors be in trouble? But this is not fair to the cultivators. Back then, they were expelled, and there was also that martial sect who hunted the cultivators all these years. "Do you think that we cultivators deserve to die?" Tian Chanzi's voice had already become stern. Obviously, Tian Chanzi was very angry about what happened back then. Tang Jing continued to persuade him, but that was New Era's scheme, and it had nothing to do with most of the warriors. Furthermore, that was more than 200 years ago, and the people involved back then have all died. Tian Chanzi still did not let go, and said, "No matter what, the cultivators must return." Tang Jing was silent. He knew that he could not persuade the Heaven's End puppet, Z. Humans are indeed despicable and shameless people. Just now, they were still together, but now they are fighting amongst themselves. The golden dragon said in disdain. Tang Jing was startled. He and Tian Chanzi had gone through life and death together, and without Tian Chanzi, he would not be where he was today, so he slowed down his tone and said, "Tian Chanzi, let's not discuss this problem first. Back then, New Era spent so much effort to expel the cultivators. I don't think that the cultivators can return so easily." Tian Chanzi was startled, and said, "You mean that even if I find the demon god, I won't be able to summon the cultivators back?" Of course. Tang Jing had only thought of this point in a moment of desperation. The devil race's summoning method only summons devils. What can the righteous path do? Tian Chanzi was speechless. He had not experienced the great battle back then, so he naturally did not know if the righteous faction had any tricks up their sleeves. If the devil race continued to summon them, then the devil race would definitely become stronger. Without the suppression of the righteous path, then the world would be in chaos. This was not what Tian Chanzi wanted to see. "No matter what, let's find the demon god first. Kid, I'll be leaving the capital soon. You should stay in the capital. This time, I've shocked a few of the great families. I believe that they won't dare to do anything to you in the short term." Tian Chanzi said. Tang Jing nodded. This was the greatest gift that Tian Chanzi had given him. In addition, the pure yang energy in your body is restless. I see that you haven't completely taken down that girl from the Ye family. Put in more effort and take her down. Otherwise, just wait for your body to explode. Tian Chanzi patted Tang Jing's shoulder. Tang Jing smiled bitterly. "I know." Turning his head to look at the golden dragon, he said, "Golden dragon, we'll leave first. I remember our promise. I will definitely keep it. I believe in you, Skywalker." The golden dragon said. Several people returned to the ground. Tian Chanzi taught Tang Jing the way to return to the hole. Then he disappeared with Huang Xiang. Seeing that the sky was gradually brightening, Tang Jing quickly left the imperial city. He had already made his decision that he would come to the imperial city for the next few nights, not for anything else, but because he had already discovered that the imperial city was a place with dense yin qi. Perhaps it was because the great battle that year had left the imperial city littered with corpses, so the yin qi left behind had not completely dissipated even after hundreds of years. The last time the war soul sword was severely damaged, he had not found enough yin qi to repair it. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. At dawn, he had already returned to the campus. The members of room 502 had just woken up. Seeing that Tang Jing had returned, they all laughed and teased him. After all, He and Yi Dingdang had disappeared for 2 days and 2 nights, which made people's imaginations run wild. Tang Zheng went to bed to rest. At noon, Sinosaurus anxiously patted Tang Zheng's shoulder and said, "Lao San, wake up quickly. Someone has come to see you." Tang Zheng opened his eyes in a daze and said, "Who came to see me?" "Of course it's me. You're still sleeping in the afternoon. What bad things did you do last night?" Yi Dingdang's voice sounded. Tang Zheng flipped over and sat up, asking, "Why are you here?" He quickly put on his clothes. The weather was still a little hot, so he slept in his briefs, which was almost equivalent to being naked. Yi Dingdang saw everything. Unexpectedly, Yi Dingdang did not avoid suspicion at all, nor was she embarrassed in the slightest. Instead, she magnanimously looked at Tang Zheng's predicament. Tang Zheng panicked as he put on his pants. Sinosaurus chuckled, "Lao San, why are you so shy? It's not like Beauty Yi is an outsider." Tang Zheng glared at him fiercely and said, "Why are you looking for me?" "Of course it's for you." Yi Dingdang's eyes turned as she said in her heart, "You really have a big heart. Don't you know that yesterday's matter has already caused an uproar in the city? You still have the leisure to sleep here. Hey, you two continue. I won't disturb you. I'll go to the dorm next door. Hey, you guys don't block the door. Go, have you never seen a beauty before?" Sinosaurus dispersed the crowd at the door. "Hey, you can't do this. A beauty wants everyone to see." The crowd erupted in complaints. "What are you looking at? This is our Lao San's dish. You guys don't have a share." Sinosaurus directly closed the door, blocking the many pairs of reluctant eyes. "Poochie. Look at you, you still know how to be shy." Yi Dingdang couldn't help but tease. Tang Zheng dryly coughed and said embarrassedly, "You rashly came to the male dorm. You don't know how powerful you are. You really want me to become public enemy number 1. You're so powerful. Are you still afraid of becoming public enemy number 1? Hurry up and get off the bed. I have something to ask you." Tang Zheng quickly got off the bed and asked, "What's the matter? Where's your master?" "He left. He left the capital." Yi Dingdang said in astonishment, "He left so quickly. I still want to thank him. Don't tell me you didn't notice anything different about me today." Tang Zheng looked her up and down. She was still as beautiful as before. There was nothing different about her. "My cultivation broke through. I directly went from the 9th grade refining body to the 2nd grade natal grade." Seeing his suspicious face, she excitedly said. Tang Zheng's eyes widened. That's right, her cultivation broke through. In one night, she actually rose 2 grades. Yesterday, Tian Chanzi's secret instructions were clearly of great help to her. "Do you know how powerful I am? You are now only 2 grades higher than me. I will soon surpass you," Yi Dingdang solemnly said. "Then I'll congratulate you in advance. If you don't have anything to do this afternoon, accompany me to go shopping." Since Yi Dingdang had already expressed her determination, she quickly launched her attack. What's this? Don't tell me you have other things to do. Hurry up and wash up. Then we'll have lunch together. After eating, we'll go shopping." Tang Zheng had no choice but to be pulled out of the male dormitory by Yi Dingdang in front of everyone's eyes, causing waves of envious and jealous cries. In the middle of the night, Tang Zheng was finally able to escape from Yi Dingdang's gentle village. He then came to the underground of the imperial city and accompanied the golden dragon. This time, he also bought a lot of snacks and prepared to stay here for a long time. There were only 4 days left for National Day, and he wanted to use this time to quickly raise his cultivation. He first circulated his energy and gathered the yin qi in the imperial city. Countless dense yin qi were absorbed into the war soul sword. The war soul sword's black light expanded and slowly recovered its strength. The war soul sword directly flew out of the war soul sword and absorbed the yin qi from all directions. The golden dragon watched him do all of this with interest, occasionally saying a few words. At the same time, Tang Jing began to cultivate. When he activated the ancient clear heaven scroll, the spirit energy of heaven and earth quickly gathered in his body. Suddenly, the golden dragon cried out in alarm, "Tang Jing, what are you doing?" Tang Jing suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the golden dragon in surprise. "What's wrong with you again? You're absorbing my dragon qi." The golden dragon roared in shock. "I'm absorbing your dragon qi." Tang Jing was shocked. Didn't the ancient emperors imprison the golden dragon here to absorb its dragon qi? When he channeled his energy, it actually had such a miraculous effect. "Yes, how did you do it?" The golden dragon was a little angry. "I'm just cultivating normally. You're not allowed to absorb my dragon qi anymore." Tang Zhang's head moved. Since the ancient emperors coveted the dragon qi so much, it must be something good, so he said, "Didn't you have your dragon qi absorbed by others before? It's not like you'll die, so don't disturb my cultivation. If you want to leave earlier, you have to wait for me to raise my cultivation even faster." "You..." The golden dragon was speechless. "Humph, cunning human." Tang Zheng ignored the golden dragon, since he was not worried that it would eat him. He focused on cultivating. This time, he finally sensed that there was an additional trace of golden energy in the spirit qi of heaven and earth that he was absorbing. This must be the dragon qi. The power contained within is even purer than normal spirit qi. Tang Zheng was overjoyed, and continued to cultivate. For days passed in a flash. The war soul sword had recovered its former power, and even the war soul had become more condensed. Its body had shrunk by a bit. Tang Zheng's harvest was even greater. Not only did he absorb a large amount of heaven and earth spirit qi, he also consumed a lot of spirit stones. He finally broke through to the 5th grade of the foundation establishment stage in one go. In addition, he had also completely mastered the second move of the heaven-flying immortal sword art. The sword breaks 1,000 caddies. His fighting strength had once again taken a new leap. This time, he had benefited from the great battle with the Yen family. Not only had he personally participated in the battle, he had also watched the battle between the experts of the Great Master stage, which had greatly enlightened him. When the golden dragon saw that Tang Zheng's cultivation had risen to another level in a few days, it became even more confident in the celestial walker's cultivation speed. It was no longer worried about the dragon qi being absorbed, and instead invited Tang Zheng to cultivate every day. How could Tang Zheng have the time? The holidays were over, and he could not skip class on the first day. Chapter 311. Something big had indeed happened at Yenqing University. Several people from the military training had been admitted to the hospital and were unconscious. The members of 502, Guasu, and Wang Tong were all admitted to the hospital. They did not have any external injuries, but their bodies were covered in red spots and they were unconscious. The hospital couldn't find anything either, which made the school very anxious. When Tang Jing rushed to the hospital, he saw his former comrades lying on the white hospital beds. His heart felt like it had been stabbed. After asking the doctor, he found out that they had fallen ill 2 days ago. They were like this when they fell ill, and their vital signs were disappearing bit by bit. Yi Dingdang looked at the frowning Tang Jing and comforted him. "Don't worry, the heavens help the good so nothing will happen to them." Tang Jing was silent. The hospital was helpless, and they could not find out what the disease was. This was not a good sign. Why are the 5 of them the only ones who fell ill? Tang Jing asked, puzzled. Yi Dingdang shook her head. "I don't know. I heard that they were all fine before they fell ill. Some of them were even dating people from our dormitory. Once they fell ill, they became like this. It was very sudden. Is it an infectious disease? The hospital has already concluded that it is not an infectious disease. But the hospital has already informed their families. They can't do anything. What do you mean they can't do anything? Isn't it their duty to save the dying and heal the injured? Tang Zheng was furious. The hospital has already done their best. They mobilized the best doctors in the city for a consultation, but they still can't do anything. This is like a new disease that has never been seen before. Then why are they the ones who fell ill, but the others are fine? Yi Dingdang shook her head and did not say anything. This was what she was most puzzled about. Sigh, the 5 of them were once our comrades. Now they are lying on the hospital beds. It is so sad. Military training. Tang Zhang's head lit up, that's right. These 5 people appeared at the terrorist base. Could it be related to the demons? Tang Zheng thought and asked, what about Takashi Takashi? Takashi Takashi. Why are you asking him? I heard that he's fine. Yi Dingdang was very puzzled. He's fine. Tang Zheng was very puzzled. Logically speaking, Takashi Takashi was also at the scene in the valley, so why was he not affected? Dingdang, you go back and rest first. We'll start class tomorrow. I'll stay behind to look after them. I'll accompany you. No need, you can go back. Seeing that Tang Zheng was determined, Yi Dingdang did not insist. She only told him to contact her if he needed anything. In the dead of night, Tang Zheng sat in the ward and looked at the few people who were on the verge of death. He felt that it was very strange. He suspected that this matter was related to the demon race. Just as he was about to check their bodies, the 5 of them sat up at the same time. Yes, the 5 of them moved at the same time, as if they were soldiers who had heard the order. Their eyes emitted a red light, which was extremely strange. Tang Zheng was shocked. What's going on? At the same time, the 5 of them quickly got out of bed and then walked out. Tang Zheng was thoughtful, but he did not stop them. All of this was too strange. These 5 people were like marionettes controlled by strings. He wanted to see where they were going. The 5 of them avoided the medical staff and walked out of the hospital. When they reached the street, the 5 of them suddenly accelerated. They had undergone strict military training, so their physical strength and endurance were not bad. They quickly ran. Fortunately, it was already the middle of the night. Otherwise, 5 people in hospital gowns running around would definitely cause a commotion. Tang Zheng unhurriedly followed behind the 5 of them. About half an hour later, they arrived at a small forest in a park. There was no one in the park. It was very quiet. The 5 of them familiarly walked to the center of the small forest. Tang Zheng stopped at a distance, but he could see everything in the forest. A person sat cross-legged on a rock. His body emitted a faint red light, which was very similar to the red light in the eyes of the 5 people. However, this person's back was facing Tang Zheng, so he could not see his face clearly. Could it be that this person is playing tricks behind the scenes? Tang Zheng did not act rashly. He wanted to see what this person wanted to do. At such a close distance, if the other party wanted to make things difficult for them, he could also rush out to help them. The high-level cultivation techniques of the demon clan are indeed extraordinary. I never thought that I would have such a great harvest from that trip to the valley. Not only did I obtain the demon god's blood essence, I also obtained this set of cultivation techniques. The man laughed and muttered to himself. The 5 of them stood in front of him, not moving an inch, not saying a word. High-level cultivation technique of the demon clan. Demon god's blood essence. Tang Zhang's head trembled, hearing this person's words. It seems that he also went to the terrorists' base camp in the valley. The demon god's blood essence must be the red light that shot out in all directions after the demon god exploded. This person's voice is a little familiar. I seem to have heard it somewhere before. Takashi, yes, this person is Master Gao. Back then in the valley, other than these 5 people, wasn't it Takashi and Marshall? Looking at his appearance, he is clearly a cultivator. How could Takashi be a cultivator? However, this also explains the series of unusual things that happened to Takashi. Takashi definitely knows that I am a cultivator. He is a poisonous snake that has been eyeing me covetously from the side. Tang Jing felt a chill, as if he had fallen into an ice cave. Since he is from the demon clan, then he must be eliminated. Tang Zheng made up his mind, killing intent surging in his eyes. Takashi stood up and turned his face so that Tang Zheng could see it clearly. Takashi looked at the 5 people and said, after absorbing the demon god's blood essence from the 5 of you, then I can reach the first grade of foundation establishment. Back then, even my master did not reach this realm. I did not expect that I would be able to reach it so quickly. The heavens are really helping me. When my power increases, I will definitely tear Tang Jing into 10,000 pieces. You want to kill me? I will get rid of you today. Tang Jing said quietly. Takashi's eyes flashed with a bright light. His fingers moved and made a very complicated gesture. Then, the 5 people let out a blood-curdling scream as a red light slowly rose above their heads. The 5 people's expressions were twisted in pain, and their life force was slowly being sucked away by the red light. This red light was the demon god's blood essence, and it had completely fused with their life force. If the demon god's blood essence was sucked away, then their life force would also be completely cut off. Tang Jing instantly understood this point. He no longer hid and jumped out with a "so" sound. He did not shout. Wasn't that a reminder to Takashi? He quietly arrived behind Takashi. Takashi suddenly became alert and realized that there was someone behind him. It was too late for him to resist, so he jumped forward. Puff! Even so, his shoulder was pierced through by the war soul sword, dripping with blood. Takashi landed on the ground in a sorry state. He turned his head and looked at Tang Jing. He obviously recognized him and turned pale with fright. Tang Jing, how could it be you? Why wouldn't it be me? Takashi, you really hit it well. You're actually from the demon clan. Tang Zhang said with a murderous look. It's really a small world. Tang Zheng, you've come to ruin my plans again. I'm going to tear you into 10,000 pieces. Takashi gnashed his teeth, his face sinister. You haven't even reached the foundation establishment realm, and you want to kill me? You're dreaming. Tang Zheng said disdainfully. Tang Zheng, don't be complacent. When I absorb the demon god's blood essence, it will be the time of your death. Is that so? I don't think you have that chance. Tang Zheng raised his sword and attacked. Takashi immediately counterattacked, but how could he be a match for Tang Zheng? Moreover, his shoulder was injured, so he kept retreating. Takashi, tell me the truth. When did you become a demon clan? This was what Tang Zheng was most confused about. Tang Zheng, didn't you boast that you were very powerful? How come there's something you don't know? I'm not some bullshit Takashi. I'm Daoist Tianji's disciple. Back then, I almost died at your hands. Fortunately, I was lucky. The other seemed to know that he was doomed, so he no longer hid his identity. It's you. Tang Zheng was shocked. Back then, you were lucky enough to escape. Today, there won't be such a good thing. This time, Tang Jing finally understood the cause and effect. He didn't have any pity in his heart. This person wasn't Takashi Takashi. Takashi Takashi was already dead. He was just borrowing Takashi Takashi's body. Huh, you didn't expect this, right? Tang Jing, let me tell you, even if I die, Lord Demon God will take revenge for me and tear you to pieces. What do you mean? Of course you don't know who Lord Demon God is. I believe you will see him, but that will be the time of your death. The other party's expression became more and more sinister. Whether I die or not is a matter for the future. Right now, you will definitely die. Tang Jing stabbed out with his sword. The strong pressure made the other party unable to resist. I'm not willing, Tang Jing, I want you to die. The other party's eyes widened as he roared. However, this park was so big that no one could hear him. Phew! The sword pierced his chest. The other party stared blankly at the battle soul sword in his chest. He spat out blood and muttered to himself, I never thought that this sword of mine would have such great power. This is no longer your sword. It has completely transformed. Tang Jing disdainfully said. The battle soul sword was equivalent to a dead object having a soul. Its power was completely different. Go to hell and reunite with Daoist Tianji. In the future, you can no longer harm others. Tang Jing pulled out the battle soul sword. The other party's eyes were wide open as his life force was completely cut off. Tang Jing found a jade tablet on his body and immediately understood that this must be the high-level demon race cultivation technique that the other party was talking about. His heart moved. Could there be a way to save these 5 people? Thus, he quickly put away the jade tablet. As for Takashi Takashi's corpse, he naturally had a way to deal with it. He was just about to use his true fire to destroy the corpse when he saw a ball of red light floating over from afar. A terrifying aura covered the sky and covered the earth. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.